Welcome back into Rounding Third Baseball, episode 222. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe bans are lifted. I'm Nick, and we have special guest tonight, Justin Rinaldi, nostalgic baseball geezer. How are we doing tonight, Justin?
I'm doing good. I mean, I have a feeling that the Rose and Shoeless Joe news will people are pretty passionate about it. So
Yeah,
I don't
you
think we'll
are.
have a lot of tame comments from people
No,
tonight.
you are on one side or the other. There's no
Yeah.
he
I mean,
might be in, he might not, but
it's kind of like a political conversation. Once someone knows where you stand, they don't really want to listen to the rest of it. Like, there's no change in your mind on it.
no.
Like, people either want him in or they want him banned.
Yep, absolutely. How's it going, Flat Cheese? Good to see you tonight. All right, before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate programs. We have Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links at the tops of all of our socials. If you do shopping through any of these companies, please do so through our links. We get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. Just a great way to support the podcast. And as always, our Rounding Third merch. So if you look Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy, you can find stuff, get our name out there, and another great way to support the podcast. All right, Justin, let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe ban lifted. According to ESPN, Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and others, I think it was 16, right? Was that the count?
Yeah.
16. Removed from the MLB ban list. This is a quote from Rob Manfred. Obviously, a person no longer with us cannot represent a threat to the integrity of the game. It's hard to conceive of a penalty that has more a deterrent effect than one that lasts a lifetime with no reprieve. So what is your thoughts initially on like that comment?
I mean, I feel like he I feel like when was it like 2 months ago, Trump came out with that statement saying that he was going to go ahead and pardon Pete Rose. I think that kind of started the wheels turning because I guess Manfred and him, have some kind of relationship together. And we'll talk about this, but it's a step towards getting Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe in. There's still a process that has to happen, and there's no guarantees at all. But at least it puts it, in play where the Hall can vote on them. Where before, that the Hall of Fame kind of set it up this way. They kind of chose to go ahead and like pass the buck and be like, MLB has, they have them on the permanently banned list. So we can't vote on them. So they kind of made their own rules to say that that their voting is dependent upon MLB deciding on whether someone's on this permanently banned list or not. So they kind of passed the buck, so now it's back to them. So now the Hall of Fame, they got to decide. They can't go ahead and just put it off anymore and make excuses and say it's Major League Baseball's fault.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. This is a very like neutral statement from Manfred. And it kind of almost washes his hands with it. He's like, I did what the fans have been screaming for.
Yeah.
My part is done. I can step back. I can let the Hall of Fame deal with it from here. MLB has now washed completely of Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe. So that's what that quote kind of screams to me. And then Manfred's reminder after that is just because they are reinstated into MLB does not automatically make them eligible for the Hall. So just what you were saying, Justin, they're two separate entities. And he was very clear when he came out with that quote. He's just like, listen, like my job's done. Now it's all Hall of Fame. I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But it's the first step in a potentially long process for sure.
Well, I think regardless of what your opinion is on whether you think he shouldn't be in or should be in the Hall of Fame, I think it's the Hall's decision. It always has been their decision who to vote for or not. They just, this was, I think, back in 1995 when they decided to latch on to MLB's excuse, saying that he's no longer eligible. So now it's back to kind of where they can go ahead and make the decision. And if he gets the votes or doesn't, at least it's something that's on the table, which it hadn't been for, a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Captain. Couple minutes early tonight. I know. Sorry. Hit the trigger a little early. It's all right.
Breaking news, you know.
Yeah, 3 days later. It's all good. Yeah, so Johns thinks that Pete and Shoeless Joe should go in. I mean, if we're looking at just on the field statistics, it's hard to say no, right? But with baseball's character clause and all of that, like it's still completely up in the air. I don't know which way they're gonna go.
I think Rose and Shoeless Joe, I don't know if there's anyone who's saying they shouldn't be in based off their performance.
Right.
Shoeless Joe Jackson's got a kind of a big chunk of his career where he wasn't able to play. So his situation's a little different. Rose had a full career.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, but I think most people, if you're looking at best hitters of the 1910s, you got Cobb and Speaker, and you probably got Shoeless Joe right after that. So it's pretty elite company that he's in there. So both of them, just off their performance, definitely should be in. It's all the other stuff that's the issue.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, and you would definitely be able to speak on Shoeless Joe's career more than I would. Like, you're more of a history guy than I am. I mean, I know who he is and what type of career he had, the 1919 White Sox and all of that stuff, and what he did in the World Series.
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, the year after that, after the Black Sox scandal in 1920, I'm looking at his stats right here. He was, in that 1920 season, and this is right when the live ball era is kicking off. So I mean, like, he left baseball at like the perfect time for a hitter to go ahead and put up monster stats.
Yeah.
So he was hitting 382, led the league in triples that year, 12 home runs, 121 RBIs. So I mean, he was having, a prime type year right when he was banned from baseball. So his stats, you got to do a lot of projecting on him, but it seemed like based off of, the direction he was heading, it wasn't like he was really, coming to an end on his career. He was 32 and he, was still almost hitting 400. So the guy would have had a lot of great years still to come.
Yeah.
And even if his career ended right then, 1920, and you don't project anything, he's probably still got a Hall of Fame case.
Yeah. So, Captain, we are going to get into the voting process to get Rose and Shoeless Joe in, and the writers aren't going to be an essential part of it, but we'll get to that in a minute here. And we'll get into it right now. Just kidding. So they will not go on the writers' ballot. They go straight to the Veterans Committee. The Classic Baseball Era Committee is what they do. So they cycle through a 3-year eras thing, if you will. So contemporary era, which is coaches, managers, and umpires, and kind of like miscellaneous, right? Like GMs, executives, like all that. The classic era, and then contemporary era, which is they're voting on the classic, or they voted on the classic era this year, right? That was like
last year they voted to elect Dave Parker, Dick Allen. Those are the two that made it in. And then there was 6 other guys that were on the 8-person ballot that didn't make it. So those guys are going in this year, 2025. The next group up would be more recent players. Those are like Mattingly, Lou Whitaker, guys that played the majority of their career after from 1980 on. The following year would be all of your umpires, managers. That's kind of that year. And then the year after that, we'd go back to kind of this classic era. So the guys where Rose and Shoeless Joe would fit in. So I think it's the class of 2028. So 2027 is how long we're going to have to wait before they actually get voted on.
Yeah. So my question, I don't know the answer to this, so you might. If they're on that classic ballot and they don't get elected, do their names stay on the ballot for the next year, or is just everybody wiped off?
So they got a committee that comes up with the 8 names that they put on the ballot. And I've looked at it, and it's kind of unclear like why they choose these 8 people, but those 8 people are not the same people that vote on who's going to make it. So it's like 2 separate groups. So they have one group that determines here's the final 8. I can't imagine they're not going to put Pete Rose and Joe Jackson on it for that 2027 voting. Right. But who knows? There'll be 8 people. I'm guessing those will be 2 of them. And then they have a totally separate group, which has some players that are in the Hall of Fame. So I think
Yep.
last year, Ozzie Smith and Lee Smith were some of the guys that voted on it. And then they have some baseball historians, and then some other. There's some other group that
It's
votes. I
a
know Joe Torre got in there and voted
it's
last time.
executive and owners, current
Okay.
and former. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what I have at the bottom there. So that's kind of the group that votes on it. But
Yeah.
like you said, I think the next step is that first committee has to put them on the ballot to even be
Mhm.
voted. So that's the next step, and they're not going to do that until 2027. They're not even
Right.
going to
So
cross that
that's for
bridge.
that's for the class of 2028. And then once they actually get on that, it'll be a list of 8 people. I don't know who the other people will be on there. Maybe like Tiant and Tommy John will be on there again. Don't really know.
Right.
But out of those guys, then you get to the actual voting and trying to get to that 75% threshold.
Gotcha. So they can be put on that ballot again by that committee if they don't get voted on.
They could. There's a new rule that, these are a lot of rules, but there's
Okay.
a new rule that they're coming out with now, where if you don't get enough votes, then the following year, I think you get one more chance at it. There's there's a certain vote threshold, but I really haven't paid a ton of attention to that rule just because they change the rules so often. Like,
Right.
are they going to keep this rule in place? I don't know. Like, there's no reason that they have to. So they could go ahead and just down the road say, like, well, we're going to get rid of this rule. And then guys who, got eliminated could be back on there. So
Yeah.
they have some rules in place where I think if you don't get voted the first time, you get one more time. Like, you get like 2 shots at it. But there's no guarantees that's going to stay in place down the road.
Yeah, I think I saw like a 5% threshold. Like if they don't get above the 5%, then they don't get another shot, which I mean makes sense. 5% is pretty low. That's like no one voted for you.
Yeah, and there's
But
something with like the voters. I think they got a group of 16 people that vote on this in this veterans committee. And gosh, I want to remember, they get 3 votes or 3 or 4 votes. They get 3 or 4 votes. I can't remember. We could look it up real quick.
yeah.
So they have a limited amount of votes. I want to say 3 they get. So depending on who's on the ballot, that changes things. Like if Rose and Shoeless Joe are on that ballot, then they're going to go ahead and likely suck up 2 of the votes for a lot of people. So that might hurt other people's chances of getting in, or maybe the opposite will take place where they're not going to get votes from some of these people. I don't know. It kind of depends on who's on that list. But it's not going to include, like, Rose and Shoeless Joe are not going to be on the same panel as Barry Bonds and Clemens and all these modern guys. Like, they're in totally separate ballots.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm looking right now. The years to completely skip the writers is 15 years. So I think I'm seeing that. So if you're 15 years past the end of your career, you automatically skip the writers ballot and you go straight to the veterans committee.
Okay.
I want to see, man. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
find it.
So you got to be, if you didn't get voted initially by the writers, you got to wait a little while before you get on the more recent one, the contemporary one,
Yeah.
which is what they're going to do this year. That doesn't have anything to do with Rose and Shoeless Joe. That'll be, in theory, it could be your Bonds and Clemens type guys.
Right.
But, we don't know who will be on that list. And you get the same issue with those guys. Like, when you put Bonds and Clemens on there, you're going to have a block of people that are going to vote for them and a block of people that won't. So, there's no guarantee, and it could just gom up the whole thing and no one gets voted when you kind of incorporate those variables in there.
Yeah, it just all comes out in the wash. So there was 16. So they're like looking at who voted on the classic era baseball last year. So there was 16. There was Paul Molitor, Tony Perez, Ozzie Smith, former executive Sandy Alderson, and Artie Moreno for the Angels got a vote, and Steve Hurt from the Elias Sports Bureau. So those were some of the examples of the people that voted last year. So that will be, a makeup of some mix of that voting on the 2027 ballot when it comes around.
And you don't know if, some of those guys are hardcore against, like Frank Thomas, for example, is hardcore against all the steroid guys. You might have some people that are just really against Jackson and Rose because of just a moral, being
Right.
against gambling and that affecting the game. So it's kind of, a crapshoot. You don't know how they're going to vote at all, but they got to get to 75% of the vote to make it 3 years from now.
Right. And like you said, I mean, it's split down the Hall of Fame too. Like you said, like Thomas is against it, but you had guys like, Joe Morgan before he passed, he was a big candidate to get Rose into the Hall, just couldn't get over that hump and get it there. So, I mean, I'm sure the members of the Hall of Fame that are still alive are split 50-50 or 60-40. I don't know what the weight is, but it's a polarizing topic, and it always will be.
Yeah.
I mean,
even after they get voted in or, they're never eligible again. It's not like this conversation will go away. The annoying part of the conversation is the people that just kind of like pound their fist on the table and are like, I don't want to listen to you if you disagree with my opinion. And then I also think it's kind of strange that, I'm guilty of it too. Like Jackson and Rose, their situations aren't exactly the same. Like there's a lot of differences between their two cases. And in some ways I have more sympathy for Jackson. And then in some other ways I have more sympathy for Rose, just kind of based off of, their circumstances.
Yeah. Captain says Jackson doesn't need the Hall of Fame. He's got Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Nice. Love it. Yeah.
It's a documentary, that movie. Yeah. Field of Dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like you said, Clemens and Bonds, that's another, I'm sure that's an episode for another day. I don't have the wherewithal to sit here and talk about them right there.
We should talk about Nolan Ryan too. We'll just get all of the hot takes out of the way.
I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens, how they lay it out. And heck, the Hall of Fame can fudge this any way they want. They can put the anti-Rose and Shoeless Joe that they know on that committee and be like, sorry, these were the names we drew. Like they can frame it any way they want. So
yeah, that's a good point. Like I don't know how they decide on what people they're going to go ahead and choose. Like maybe they have an agenda to keep them out of the Hall of Fame. Like that's it seems like they've kind of had that agenda in the past, so that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. So all right, these are other names that were removed from the ban list. So we have Eddie Cicotte. Is that how you say it? Cicotte.
I think it's Cicotte.
Or Cicotte. All right, I'm trying to be.
I kind of hope it's Cicotte. Okay, that I think has a better ring to it.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna trust your English.
We could call him Eddie C. Makes it sound like he's in the mob.
Perfect. Well, I mean, he probably was. Let's be honest.
So probably being threatened by the mob.
Everybody on this left side was 1919 Chicago White Sox. So Claude Williams, Chuck Gandil, Charles Risberg, Buck Weaver, Happy Felsch, which is an awesome name, and Fred McMullen.
If I have another child, I'm going to name it Happy. That's just
middle name Felsch for sure.
Yeah.
But
it'll backfire. He'll be severely depressed.
Right. Yeah, the Hall of Fame process, to me, I think baseball does need to revamp it somehow. I don't know what the answer is. I do like how the NFL does it. They literally sit in a boardroom and they go around like, Justin, Pete Rose, in or out, yes or no. And it's just a yes or no answer. And they move on to the next guy. Majority wins. I do like that. But, I mean, I digress.
I think they could go ahead and take some cues from the Catholic Church and do a conclave like they did for electing the Pope. I think that would add a little bit of drama to the whole scenario.
Yeah,
and I don't know. You have a certain color smoke for like the players' colors for their teams. They get elected, and you get this. That Cincinnati red coming out of there for Rose.
Yeah,
I'm just spitballing ideas here.
Yeah, right. I love it. I love that idea. The Astros thing's also interesting to me. I brought it up last week with Jose Altuve. Like he's probably the next Astros Hall of Famer. Yeah. 17, give him a black eye. I don't know. I don't know the status on that.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to affect Beltran very much.
No.
He seems like he's headed for election next year. So, I mean, if if he gets in, then I think probably Altuve gets in too.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. And he's the guy that probably got blackballed the most out of that whole situation. And if he gets in, then I think everybody else has a legit shot. That's a great point. So then we have a whole bunch of Giants in here. We have a couple of Phillies. William Cox down here at the bottom was an executive that was betting on his team to win. So he was banned as well. But never really heard about this Giants betting scandal, but that's all these names right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Giants on there.
Yeah. So there was a whole kind of scandal there.
The main difference to me with, where I kind of am more sympathetic with Shoeless Joe in some ways is like that was a much bigger part of baseball culture back in the early 20th century. Like players were not making as much money. And so when you'd get to like the World Series, like your payday is, your World Series payday. That's not going to compete to like the $5,000 that Shoeless Joe is going to be able to get. And then if you go further back into the 19th century, you've got the same issues where like the integrity of baseball was definitely more, I think, at stake, where you'd have, there's excessive drinking that was going on at the time. And, you'd have like just major image issues where guys like Christy Mathewson would be kind of these, handsome, on the up and up type, nice Christian boys. And they'd kind of project that image as opposed to like your Ty Cobbs who didn't have quite as good of an image in the press. And so when Shoeless Joe and the Black Sox happened in 1919, like there were lots of other gambling issues that were kind of bubbling under the surface. Nap Lajoie, however you want to pronounce it, won a batting title under some real sketchy circumstances where the other team let him win the batting title so he could win a car. So there's lots of these little situations where in like the 80s, that just wasn't happening. Like there were not like pervasive gambling issues happening like there were back in the early part of the 20th century. So Rose is, he's more of a standalone. Whereas I think Jackson just kind of caught up in, I think there's more of an excuse on, if you're trying to be sympathetic towards him, that it was more widespread. Like it was happening in lots of places, lots of years. Right. Whereas Rose, it really wasn't as big of a part of the culture in 1980s.
Yeah, that's another great point, and like never really thought about that too. Just like the whole money situation and why these guys chose to gamble and throw games, because there wasn't money in it like there is now. Like we talk about guys like Mantle and DiMaggio, like all those famous Yankees that had to work at a shoe shop in the off season or their local deli to make ends meet in order to get to the next season. Like that's a great point.
Yeah. And you'd have, lots of these guys around that time had alcohol problems and they'd get their paychecks. And before the next season started, they'd be out of money because they'd blow all their money on alcohol and women or whatever they're spending their money on. And then they'd be asking their owners for upfront payments before the next season. So it wasn't like they were living in the lap of luxury. It was better pay than being a farmhand. But if you're looking for a golden ticket, that was it. Like you could make 4 times, 5 times what you'd make at, kind of your regular run of the mill job back then. But everyone was just scrapping to get by. These people, there's plenty of stories, and especially, the 1800s about players that are just willing to do whatever it takes to go ahead and continue with their Major League Baseball career to go ahead and make a little more money. So, I guess it's still pretty cutthroat Major League Baseball, but nowhere near kind of the stakes in terms of like your livelihood like there was back then. Now if you have a severe injury or something like that, or you have a down year, it's costing you millions of dollars, but your base level is just so much higher than it was back then.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we have players that are still currently banned. So we have Cardinals scouting director Chris Correa. He hacked the Astros database. That's pretty crazy. Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar with sexual misconduct allegations. So this one's interesting because he's already in the Hall, but they're not going to take him out, even though he is banned from MLB for the sexual misconduct. What are you? Do you have any feelings on that? Like,
I mean, I guess once you're in, it doesn't matter what you do. Like you're in. So, I mean, it brings up with Rose and Jackson. If they had found out those things after they got elected, I guess it wouldn't have made any difference for their Hall of Fame chances. They'd be in because that's kind of the stance that they took with Alomar.
yeah. Yeah, can you imagine that? There's another committee that meets every year and be like, all right, let's bring these 8 players up that shouldn't be in, and
Yeah.
we'll kick them out.
We need
Yeah,
more committees, more rules, more
yeah,
regulations. I think that's what everyone wants.
absolutely. Yeah. All right. Angels pitching coach Mickey Callaway, sexual harassment spanning many organizations. I looked at the list and there was too many to list, so I just put many organizations. And then we all know what happened. Was it the beginning of last year? I think with the Padres, a couple Angels players, Tusapita Marcano for betting on baseball directly. He was banned and still currently on the list. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of the modern day concern is kind of these more fringe players making bets on baseball than like your big stars. Because the big stars, like they're just not going to have quite as much motivation as they used to have. And like Rose, I mean, it wasn't that Rose, in my opinion, was doing it for the money. Rose was doing it because he was a competitive, insane person. Like he's, that type of personality where he doesn't know how to turn it off. Like he was going 100% all the time, giving full effort. And he just didn't know how to turn off those competitive juices. So he was just kind of out of control in a lot of aspects of his life. He wasn't able to compartmentalize kind of that, competitive streak that made him such a great baseball player.
Right. And there's a lot of guys like that, right? That type A personality, that alpha dog mentality. Yeah. Like that's the reason they're at the highest level of their game too, right? They get so obsessed and fixated on one thing. And it's, they're the type of guys that went to school all day. They came home, they took 500 swings in the batting cage. They ate dinner. They went out and took 500 more. Like that's what gets you to the show. Yeah. And like you said, some people just can't turn that off.
Well, and there's, for a long time, the common thought was from Leo DeRocher that nice guys finish last. Like you just can't be that successful and that nice. Now, I don't know if I fully believe that because there's been plenty of, nice guys, right. Brooks Robinson, Stan Musial. Like there's plenty of guys who are, had sterling reputations that were not, out for blood all the time. Yeah. But I think for some people, that's kind of the mind frame that they need to have to get that competitive edge to take them over the top.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you your personal opinion, in or out?
Well, for Rose, I say let him in. And then for Jackson, I say also let him in because I'm kind of the opinion, the great Buck O'Neil, he was asked about Enos Slaughter. So Enos Slaughter was this player for the Cardinals who, in the movie 42, maybe more people are familiar with that, where he was against the integration of Jackie Robinson and was trying to get the Cardinals team to boycott games. It got shut down, luckily. And Buck O'Neil was asked, should Enos Slaughter be voted for the Hall of Fame? And he basically just said, like, I don't know what's in a person's heart. Like people can change. We should just kind of vote based off of what they did on the diamond. So that's kind of my take is, some people have some sordid pasts, but we don't know if they did change somewhere along the line. And we'll never know. Like you can't go ahead and see what's in a person's heart. So I think it's much cleaner and easier just to go ahead and vote based off of what they did out there. Now, there's probably a deadline or a cutoff somewhere. Like murder, I don't know what the cutoff is. There's some cutoff, but for me, I'm willing to go ahead and say, short of murdering someone, I think I'm just basing it based off of what they did on the baseball field.
Yeah, I'm with you. I look at the NFL Hall of Fame again. You have Ray Lewis, Lawrence Taylor. You got some O.J. Simpson. You got some guys that legit murdered people. Or
I mean, OJ was acquitted though, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure.
We're
and
trying
Ray
to get
Lewis,
chat stirred up.
yeah,
Some people are already going to be yelling at us no matter what because
yeah.
of our opinions on this.
Yeah, but and Ray Lewis wasn't either. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't guilty either. But
Yeah.
okay, you know what I mean. So like I'm with you. It should be on the field, and that's it. Now,
Yeah.
for me, Rose is a little bit of a gray area because the gambling happened when he was a manager, right? So like he did control some of the on-field stuff. Fine.
Yeah.
Don't mention on his plaque that he was an MLB manager.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy fix. So on his Hall of Fame plaque, put career hits leader, how many All-Stars, how many World Series, whatever, MVPs, whatever you want to do. Just don't mention he was an MLB manager. Just kind of wipe that away. They
Well,
have
and
that
he
power
was,
too.
he agreed to go ahead and have them stop the investigation. So we're never really going to know all the details with Rose because he agreed to be put on that permanently banned list. So it's a fuzzy area in that regard too. Like we'll never really know all the details. But for me at least, he's a flawed character, obviously. Yes. But he's a no doubt Hall of Famer. And short of murdering someone, I'm defaulting to like let's just focus on what they did on the field. Everybody knows his character flaws. Like people dislike Pete Rose plenty for what he did off the field and with his gambling. And he has other sexual allegations and things like that happened that people hate him for. And that's not going to change regardless of whether he's voted into the Hall of Fame or not. And same with Jackson, like people will know. It's not like it's something that people aren't going to be aware of. Like people know about it. And that's not going to change whether they get voted in or not.
No, but I'm with you. It should be, I think I want both of them in. What they brought to the game on the field is something we won't see again, right? I mean, it's incredible. And I think that part should be celebrated. Like you don't, like you said, don't have to necessarily celebrate the type of humans they were, but you can celebrate their accomplishments. Heck, the museum already does it. They already have exhibits for these guys. So like,
everyone knows Pete Rose is the hits king. Like,
right.
It's whether he's in the Hall of Fame or not, that record's going to go ahead and stand. And same thing with, when you get to other records with steroid guys, everyone knows that Barry Bonds has hit a lot of home runs. Whether or not you think they should count is a different story. Right. But for, you can apply this to the steroid guys too. Like if they're a no doubter, maybe there's a penalty for like guys that are borderline, so if it was a borderline guy, so like Eddie Seacott, he's kind of a borderline case for the Black Sox. Don't put him in if he's a borderline guy, but these are not borderline guys we're talking about here. Like Pete Rose is for sure, for sure Hall of Famer. Yeah. Shoeless Joe Jackson's a for sure Hall of Famer based off of their talent and what they did on the field.
Yeah, we're going to get into it Sunday because Justin's going to come back on. You worked your butt off to come up with the top 100 of all time. We're going to go over the top 50. And I love how you broke it down and you actually like penalized certain guys for certain eras of baseball. I thought the way you did it was absolutely incredible. We'll get into that Sunday. So you guys will see Justin again on Sunday. I can't wait to dive into that. But
I got the top 50 are done right now. I'm working on finishing out the top 100. But the main goal for me is, just a lot of these lists that you look at, it's just a gut call for people. It's just like, okay, Pete Rose, I'm going to place him here. There's not like much reasoning other than that's just where you feel like he should go. Yeah. So I tried to come up with a formula where like, here's a formula that makes sense to me. And then I just put it in place and step back and see how the results turned out. And I don't like all the results either. So there's some players that I definitely wish were in my top 50 that are not. And the same thing applies when we get to like the end of the top 100. There's definitely guys that if I could, just maneuver things around however I wanted, which sounds silly because, it's my list. But that seemed kind of disingenuous for me to like come up with a whole system and then, on my computer just be like, well, I like this guy, so I'm just going to bump him up to 99, like sneak him in there just because he's my favorite. So that seemed like it kind of sabotaged the whole idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we talk about those guys, there's, Pete Rose will come up again, I'm sure, on this one.
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe and all your other favorite people that, get talked about on the internet all the time.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan, people love to talk about him. Barry Bonds, we might not even get past the first part of the list with Barry Bonds. So
Yeah.
we'll
That's
see.
fine.
I feel like chat will go ahead and either love or Barry Bonds is another one. Like either you have him in the top couple, or he shouldn't be on the list at all. Like people don't have a whole lot of in between on him. It feels like.
Yeah. It is crazy how polarizing certain players are in baseball history. And it will never change. But
well, certain guys are polarizing just because they don't have the fame behind them.
yeah,
Like just because they're not someone that maybe won a lot of awards or gets talked about a lot. Like the guys that get talked about a lot, they have a lot of heat behind them too. But then other guys that you just don't hear about very much, people are like, well, he can't be that good because I haven't heard of him or don't know him very well.
right.
So those guys always kind of surprise me when they pop up on the list because I'm like you, I grew up basing a lot of my opinions on these players just off of how much popularity they had.
Yeah.
It wasn't really based off of their stats. It's how much they got talked about. So guys that are in the World Series get talked about more than other guys. Yankees get talked about more than other guys, things like that. So
yeah. Well, speaking of polarizing, Justin,
this guy's not polarizing at all.
Not at all. Trevor Bauer releases a statement on Twitter, goes, so since Pete is welcome back now, does that go for everyone who has been blackballed? When will this guy get the fact that this isn't the way to win back teams? I put affection in quotes. Because like a quote like this doesn't make a team be like, oh yeah, we want Trevor Bauer back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I don't understand why. I understand that he's thinking that.
And he's frustrated.
I understand that
absolutely.
He wants to be signed by a Major League Baseball team. Just like I understand Devers doesn't want to play first base. But like, why would you say that? I don't understand what he's getting out of this. That's not going to help him get signed by any team. It also just, to me reeks of like, look at me. Like, well, this is kind of news about, Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and other players that have been banned. Really doesn't have anything to do with Trevor Bauer at all. Like on the periphery, maybe like if you squint, but it's about people that were on the permanently banned list, which he's not technically on the permanent. Now you can say, maybe there's some conspiracy to keep him out of baseball. Okay. But he's not on a list where he's being permanently banned. Maybe they've colluded. That's a possibility. Maybe teams have colluded to prevent him from. I think it's probably more likely that they don't want to deal with the headache of Trevor Bauer on their team.
1,000%.
That there's a conspiracy, but that's my opinion. I'm open to the fact that maybe teams have colluded about it, but until I see evidence about it, I'm going with they just don't want the headache.
Yeah, I mean, the way his on the field antics, he was already all over social media when he was in the MLB, like talking about sticky stuff and like he was just very anti MLB when he was in the MLB. And that was before all of the off the field allegations. I mean, there was one interview they showed like I think he was with the Dodgers at the time. And they're like, Trevor, what do you think about the sticky stuff? And he just holds his hand up like this, and he's got the baseball stuck to the palm of his hand. And he doesn't say anything. He just holds it up like this. So like it's stuff like that the league doesn't necessarily want put on blast, and this guy continues to do it. And now the owners are like, well, like you said, I don't want that headache on my team. This guy would just destroy my clubhouse. Like just put a bomb in the middle of my clubhouse right now and blow it up, because that's what you would do as soon as you signed this guy.
Well, and he's just kind of like the ultimate troll. Like I think we all probably have friends like this on social media that you might agree with what they're saying, but it's like, why are you out there saying it? Like, what is the end game here? Like, you're just dropping bombs left and right about things. Like, yeah, I know. Like, it's a valid opinion that you have that, he does feel like he's being blackballed. He could be. But this didn't really have anything to do with him at all. And it just kind of makes him seem like a petulant child being like, look at me. Here's more news. Because this comes up every time a player's injured. Like Trevor Bauer's like, hey, sign me. Like, I'm still out here. It's like, yeah, everyone knows you're still out there. Like, it's not helping your chances getting signed by anyone.
No.
But maybe it makes you feel better. Maybe he just has very poor impulse control.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, just it's too bad because does he have the talent? Yeah. I mean, I can still
Oh yeah,
see that he's got it. He's mid-30s, right? He's getting kind of up there in age, like I
yeah.
get it, but he still has the talent to he would be able to get MLB lineups out. There's no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind. The talent is there. He's good.
The Rockies would take him just on talent alone.
1,000%.
The
If they had
Rockies
$5 to
should take a
spend.
lot of guys. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he said he'd sign for like $5, right? Isn't that what he
Yeah.
said?
Yep. But it's just if he would have stopped this whole social media push, like I think you can use social media in a positive way. Go ahead, post your outings, but it doesn't need to be with the commentary and the all the extra stuff. Like post what you're doing. Sure. Like publicize yourself. Do it. Put yourself out there. But don't put stuff out like this because teams start looking at you, and who knows? There could have been teams like, we should give Bauer a shot. And then the next morning they wake up and they see this and they're like, nope, never mind. Like
That's
it can
the reminder.
go away and go away in an instant.
Yeah.
So
no, and he, like you were saying, he just keeps putting stuff out there. And maybe for some people that are not paying attention to Trevor, I'm not paying attention to his daily feed, but I see enough stuff from Trevor Bauer. It's like, oh my gosh, again, he's out there saying something. Like it's kind of like the nonstop, like over and over hammering you with it that gets to you. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows your situation. You're not helping yourself by continuing to go ahead and hit up social media with your grievances.
Yep, agree. All right, news this week. Paul Skeens is in for the 2026 WBC. Hell yes. I am on board for this. Who else do you want to see follow? So it's no secret. The U.S. pitching rotation in 2023 was anchored by Brady Singer and Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, I remember Merrill Kelly. Yeah.
I mean, great pitchers in their own right, but not the upper echelon that we as U.S. baseball fans wanted to see there. So is Paul Skeens the first shoe to drop maybe where other top of the line pitchers, your Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole probably won't because he's coming off Tommy John. But do you think this is the first shoe to drop to get better pitching in this WBC?
I mean, that's clearly their weakness. Like the position players are markedly better, like so much better than the pitchers last time. And I gotta think that them not winning the championship is going to be motivation. I would think, you know, at least from a fan's perspective, it's not like you can take it for granted. Like this is not a guarantee that you're going to win if you just chuck out a pretty good team. Like you've got to make sure it's solid up and down, and the starting rotation's the obvious weakness of the team.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Bryce Harper's already come out publicly pretty much recruiting everybody that comes to first base in Philly, and he's like, hey, what are you doing in March of 2026? You want to come play?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the starting rotation. Who else out there for starters would you like to see in the WBC?
Ooh. See, now I got to go ahead and see where they're from because I might be throwing out some people that are Canadian here. You're talking about Burns on that Diamondbacks roster.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's from the U.S. I think he's from California. He's from Scottsdale, but I don't know where he was born.
Is Wheeler signed up yet from Philly?
No, but I'm sure Bryce is in his ear about it.
Yeah, because I mean he's talking to him all the time.
I'd like to
see a real obvious one, right? Because he's from California.
Yep. I would like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing Logan Webb. I mean,
that's a good one.
Talk about a guy. He's from California. Talk about a guy that goes out and gives you solid starts every 5 days, gives you 7 innings, ground ball machine. I would like to see Logan Webb there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gallen, but he's not really. Gallen and like Nola are not doing great this year.
Nolan's getting hit. Yeah,
he's getting hammered. Like the other day, I think he let up like an insane. I don't remember how many runs, but whoever I was playing against in fantasy baseball had Nola starting. I was like, oh, this is an advantage for them, and he got he got hammered.
Yeah. And Gallen's 250-50 right now. He's
Yeah.
either on or he gets absolutely wrecked.
What about Michael King from San Diego?
I would, yes, definitely. I'd take
Because
that
he's looked
Frisbee.
amazing. I don't know, for
Dylan
like 2 years now.
Dylan Cease,
Cease would be a good one.
Garrett
Cease,
Crochet.
I like King more than Cease just because I feel like he's been a little more consistent. But I mean, Cease has been pretty darn good. He's putting up some crazy strikeout numbers in some games this year.
Yep. I mean, I would take Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I think Garrett Crochet, and I think now that he's got that contract extension with the Red Sox, I think he would be in a good spot to go. Right? He's not really playing for anything. He doesn't really need to. I mean, still need to worry about getting injured. Like I get it, but he doesn't have a contract year coming up, so he would have time if something, a la Edwin Diaz happened.
Did you say Fried yet? Max Fried?
No, I didn't. Fried's a great one.
He'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go last time either, because Fried's been good for the Braves for a long time before he came to New York. Like I feel like he's been around for at least 5 years.
Yeah, but he had the contract year coming up too. So I think he was, he was kind of worried about that. And he was often, I think he was off and on injured there for a little bit that year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. Hunter Green.
Yes.
Cincinnati.
Yep.
Hunter Green seems like a slam dunk. That guy's been amazing so far this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you could piece together that bullpen too and get some great arms. But it's the whole pitching staff that definitely needs the overhaul for the WBC. But
yeah, they got to do better than what they had last time.
Yep.
I remember looking at that roster and thinking, really? Like that's what they're going with for their pitching staff? Like you said, these guys aren't chumps, but these weren't superstars by any stretch.
Right. Yeah. And then you roll out the lineup where you got like Mookie Betts hitting ninth. Yeah. You're just like, okay, like this is crazy. Yeah. Like nuts. But yeah, it'll be exciting to see for sure. So Paul Skenes, first shoe to drop there. All right. Some injuries this week. Oswaldo Cabrera, broken ankle on the plate of the plate. Will injuries ultimately prevent the Yankees from winning the World Series? With Garrett Cole out, it seems like they just are getting hurt left and right. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Cole, obviously, was the big one preseason to happen. I feel like right now, maybe this is just me projecting what I want to happen, but I feel like the Tigers got the mojo this year. Like, I don't know what it is, but they to me feel like, kind of this team of destiny. Like, I don't know. I mean, I do know what happened. They've been on the upswing for a while, and they were great last year at the end of the season, especially on this, killer winning streak to end the year. And then they got Javi Baez now stepping up out of nowhere. Who, I thought he was done. I thought Javi Baez was pretty much on his way out. Yep. And then he just pops up out of nowhere. And is, a couple days ago, he was leading the team in hitting, had the best batting average of guys that had, substantial at bats. They just seem like they've got whatever that it factor is this year. So I don't know, if the Yankees had Cole, that's a big difference. But I'm not sure, even if that would have been, it would made it more interesting. But I feel like the Tigers are just the team this year in the AL. And, we got a long way to go. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting so far.
I'm with you. I think the Tigers are the best team in the AL right now. They are rolling. They are deep. They plug and play everywhere. Hinch puts them in every position possible to win. Guys coming through left and right. I mean, it's Riley Green's ridiculous. Torkelson's finally broken out of it. The Tigers are legit. I love that Tigers team, and they're fun to watch. They are a blast to watch.
Well, and it's not like they also not every single player on their team is busting out.
Right.
They've had some players have kind of okay starts to the year. It's not like every player has just been playing out of their mind.
Right.
So, their staff looks pretty deep. Jackson, with the prospect guy, Jackson Jobe.
Yep.
He's done okay, but it's he's got a lot more potential than what he's shown so far. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they've got guys that have pretty high ceilings that have done fine, not poorly. But I feel like there's even room for growth from where they're at right now, which is scary because they're killing it.
Yeah, they're very good. But yeah, I think the Yankees are they're not the Yankees team of last year. I mean, who knows with Judge? I mean, Judge is obviously the difference maker there. That guy's ridiculous. He's not human. And they can still put up a ton of runs. Even with these injuries, they're still putting up a lot of tallies on that scoreboard. So the Yankees are not out of it by any means. But they've had a lot of injuries early. So they're even another big key injury away from, I think, really coming back down to earth with the rest of the AL there. But
well, and maybe Judge does keep up this pace. I mean, he pretty good pace last year. I mean, unbelievable 58 homer season. Maybe he can keep up this pace, but I'm looking right now. He's hitting 412, almost 500 on base percentage. Like, I don't think that's sustainable over a whole season. He's got to come down a little bit. And when he comes down, that's kind of, buoying their chances right now. His extreme play, like, he's great. Don't get me wrong. And Judge is going to probably win the MVP. Like, I think he's definitely the favorite, but I don't think he can keep up, 412 batting average. Like, I just don't think that's sustainable in modern baseball.
412 is wild right now.
For a guy with that much power. I mean, it's not like he's slapping singles, and it's not like he's a speed guy who's beating out a lot of hits. Like, these are all just ropes that he's hitting. Like, he's just killing it.
Yeah, it's gross. Tanner Houck put on the IL with a flexor pronator strain. Harrison called this, no joke, 3 or 4 days ago, after Houck's last start. So he's like the first pitcher in MLB history to, I think, see, it was like 2 1/3 innings, give up 11 runs and 12 hits. And it's only happened twice in MLB history, and both times are Houck this year. And he goes, does Houck go on the IL for like a phantom injury? Now, he could be hurt. He could be. But does this just give him a break? He's 0-3, 8 ERA, and 43 innings. Not the start the Red Sox wanted out of your all-star starter last year.
In the first half of last year, he was unbelievable.
Lights out.
Like, superstar looking. And I remember thinking, like, where did this guy come from? Like, he was not on my radar at all going into the season. But, I don't know if it's better if it's an injury or if it's better that he just needs a break because mentally something's off or something with his mechanics are off. I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know who the Red Sox, you're the Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
Is Cutter Crawford still around? Can they throw him out there?
So he's coming back from injury as well. And there's no timetable on his return. So hopefully
there's that idea.
Yeah. So you have him and my boy Richard Fitz needs to come back too at some point. But it's another classic baseball name for sure. But they did get Giolito back. Giolito's had some pretty good starts so far. But I think this is for me, I feel like it's a phantom trip to the IL, and I hope he can get straight because when he does, he is Logan Webb-esque, like just hitters just wear out the grass in front of home plate because they're just pounding it into the ground. And
Giolito, former White Sox guy, he's kind of, I'm surprised that he's done. I mean, he's not doing crazy well, but he's hanging in there. He's had some good outings. Yeah. And he's a guy that, over the last couple of years, kind of like Baez, I just thought he might be done. Like, this just might be it for this guy. So I'm hoping that he bounces back because, he's shown in the past that he could be an all-star pitcher. Yeah. Whether he gets to that level or not, I don't know. But if he could just be a productive pitcher, that'd be a huge help to the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's all we need. Coming off of Tommy John, like just eat some innings. That's all the Red Sox really want. So Roki Sasaki, kind of the same deal here. So he hits the IL with a shoulder injury. Is this legit or also a reset injury? So he's 29 hits, 29 walks, and 34 1/3 innings so far for Roki Sasaki.
With the Dodgers' depth, this one kind of smells a little bit more like it might be a phantom injury. Like he's been bad.
But he has been bad. But you have Snell and Glass now on the IL too. So they're running out of these depth options real quick.
Yeah, I mean, the
But
Dodgers, at the beginning of the year, people were posting about how they had like 9 all-star caliber starters in their rotation. So
yep.
now they're kind of down to like, hey, can we rush Ohtani out there? Like we need we need some arms.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
Sasaki, I mean, you guys, I remember talking about him on the podcast about how electric his stuff looked on opening day. So I had high hopes, or not opening day, but in that overseas series.
yeah.
So I had high hopes that he was going to go ahead and, be this rookie of the year type guy, but he's been a dud.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they're saying his fastball just has no movement on it. Yes, he throws it triple digits, but it is flat.
Yeah.
And you can't throw anything flat to MLB hitters. They will absolutely pound it. No matter how fast it's coming. It could be coming 500 miles an hour. These guys will time it up and hit it 500 feet. So for me, I think it's a reset injury. He can't control his splitter. His splitter is disgusting.
Yeah.
It breaks 1.5 feet, but he has no control over it. As the 22 walks in 34 innings. Like that's the number you want to see go away. You can deal with 29 hits. 22 walks, 22 free passes won't get the job done.
No, I mean, that's and it could be an arm issue. But I had pretty high hopes for this guy coming into the season. And he hasn't really done much of anything.
No.
Go back to my fantasy baseball team. I'm rostering him. So I feel it every week. He's on the bench for sure. So he's kind of like a guy you're thinking about, am I going to cut this guy? Like, is he even worth holding on to at this point? So
yeah,
I'm holding on to him right now, but he's on the board. You already cut him?
I've already ditched him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's just me. All right. Minnesota Twins success and injuries. So first 2025 team with a 10+ game winning streak. They won their 11th today, 11th straight. Correa and Buxton leave after a collision in today's game. Correa left the field immediately. Buxton left the inning after. When will the injury plague leave Minnesota? It just seems like these guys are always hurt. I know in our group text today, like with Forrest and you, it was just like, it's Justin. What did you say? Oh, Royce Lewis probably got
Royce
hurt
Lewis.
watching.
Yeah, Royce Lewis got hurt watching those guys run into each other. I mean, Minnesota though, like Buxton, when is he ever gonna really? I mean, he's never gonna put it together like we thought he would. Like he kind of had, and maybe Acuna is not the best example because Acuna is hurt right now too.
Right.
But like he was just this 5-tool superstar that could do everything. And you thought for sure was going to be a superstar for a decade. And injuries have just killed his career. So, I mean, I hope it's not too bad. But based off of past evidence, like he gets injured so much that he's probably going to be out for a while. And you could say the same thing for Correa. Correa's at least had some healthy years where I feel like Buxton's hardly even had one full healthy season.
Yeah, we've said on this podcast for years, Byron Buxton could be a perennial 40-40 guy, but he just can't stay on the field long enough to do it.
And Correa, I mean, maybe I'm not remembering this correctly, but I feel like every generation there's these superstar young shortstops that in their early 20s, you're like, this guy's like a no doubt Hall of Famer. He's going to be one of the top 10 shortstops of all time. And whether it's like Trey Turner or Correa, like they just, for whatever reason, can't keep that success going. Hanley Ramirez is the big one I remember from even further back, where Hanley Ramirez was like one of the best players in baseball for a while and just kind of, fell off a cliff. Javi Baez, we just talked about, like these great young shortstops always seem to come up, and Correa plays amazing defense, great hitter, but he's not gonna be able to stay healthy enough to really put together a Hall of Fame career, even though he's got the talent to do it.
I agree. Yeah, Captain, the division needs to look out. The White Sox are coming. They are 4-1 since the Pope was elected.
Hey, I'm a White Sox fan, so I'm hoping that they can just be competitive. That's all I care about at this point. But the AL Central and the NL Central look a lot alike.
Yep.
Like they've got
They
a
do.
bottom feeder. The Pittsburgh is like the White Sox. They're not going anywhere fast.
Yep.
But everyone else seems to be pretty competitive. Now I think AL Central's better than the NL Central, but the other 4 teams in the division are kind of hanging in there. Like they're around 500 or at 500 or above. So those divisions are really competitive, which I love tight division races. So
Same.
I'm not a fan of seeing the Yankees win the AL East by 25 games. That's no fun.
Yep.
It just makes it more entertaining. So I'm hoping that some of these divisions stay tight as the season goes on.
Yep. I agree with you fully. Clayton Kershaw is scheduled to make his 25 debut on Saturday. My question to you, Justin, does he reach his 3,000 K milestone?
Oh gosh, how far off is he right now?
I think he needs 41, I think last time I checked.
That's not much.
It's not much,
Wow.
but does he stay healthy enough to get there?
Let's see. Last year he got 24 in 30 innings. That's all.
He just kidding. He needs 32. So he'll get there.
Yeah, he's just got to stay healthy for 7 or 8 games.
Yep.
So he should be able to. I mean, he's been so injury prone. Him and Trout. We talked about Trout a lot before. These two guys just were at the pinnacle of success, and you're like, these guys are going to go down, Mount Rushmore type players to throw out another overused term. But they've just been so many injuries for Kershaw, whereas his longevity he's been amazing, but he can't quite match like the Verlanders and the Scherzers who've been able to, it sounds silly now because those guys are both, barely able to stay on the field.
Right.
But those guys have been able to put together longer careers where they've gone over 3,000 innings. And where Kershaw's, he's probably not going to get to 3,000 innings. He's at 2,700 right now.
Yeah.
And 3,000 innings used to be just, kind of like a given for a pitcher that has a long career. Yep. And he's not going to get there because he doesn't have much left. I don't know how much added value he has at this point in his career, but he should get to 3,000.
Yeah, he's going to get the starts, like I said, with that Dodgers rotation kind of going down with injuries. So he'll get the starts. So either way, he's a Hall of Famer.
If I can just watch his sweet curveball some more, that's a thing of beauty to watch.
Yeah.
So if I can just get a couple more innings out of him where he can drop a couple curveballs and make guys' knees buckle, that'll be worth it.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right. Rafael Devers completely shuts us all up and wins Player of the Week last week. 476, 10 for 21, 2 homers, a double, 8 RBIs. Has he increased his trade stock or made it so he's untradeable?
I don't know. You tell me. Are the Red Sox fans, is this enough to go ahead and make you forget about all of his comments in the press about not wanting to play first?
So Harrison and I think, are in the same boat that the Red Sox are not going to win as long as this attitude is in Boston.
Yeah.
It's just not a great thing to have in the clubhouse. Granted, we're not in the clubhouse, obviously. That's why we're sitting here. But it just doesn't seem like it's a team first, I'll do whatever it takes to win attitude that, most of these teams that win the World Series have. They're like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Oh, I'm your cleanup hitter, but you need me to throw 2 innings out of the bullpen? Yeah, if that's going to make us win the World Series, I'm going to do it. Instead of being like, well, no, I'm not going to play first base. That's where we're kind of at on it. I think just more the behavior of it than it's just not a winning culture, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. What that guy does in the middle of the lineup is ridiculous. He's putting up the numbers. Yeah. And that would be a big hole to fill. But you need the team chemistry there. And if he's not providing that, then I think it's time to move on.
Well, and he's been the guy who's got the most tenure with Boston. Yeah. So I think that kind of makes it a strange dynamic, even though Bregman, some other guys could be, and maybe, Bregman is the leader in that clubhouse. I think that because he hasn't been there as long, that's kind of a hard mantle to take. Now, in the past, whenever you get these free agents coming in, you tend to get some tension whenever there's a superstar coming in that tries to be the leader like Reggie Jackson with the Yankees in like the late 70s. Like he comes in and Thurman Munson and him immediately butt heads. Like that's a weird dynamic. Like the guy who's been there kind of has to be the leader of the team.
Yep, I agree.
And if that dynamic doesn't work out, then it's just chaos. And sometimes it works. It worked out for the Yankees for a little bit. But I mean, it's not like the Red Sox are, they're kind of floating around 500 right now too.
Yeah.
They're not the Orioles, at least. My goodness.
That team is.
I predicted them to win the AL East. I'm going to say at this point, I messed that up. They are not going to win the AL East.
That's the one thing I'm taking.
It's not too early.
That's the one thing I'm taking a victory lap on. I had them finishing fourth in the AL East because I didn't think they had the pitching. But
no, they don't have the pitching. You're right.
Yeah,
they don't.
Brutal. Jordan Lawler, top Diamondbacks prospect, my rookie of the year pick, finally being called up to the big club this week. The D-backs need to get something rolling. They are my Red Sox of the NL right now. They score a bunch of runs, don't have a bullpen to back it up. So hopefully Lawler gives them a nice shot in the arm here because they need to get it together over there.
And I got a lot more faith in them. I mean,
I do too.
Their position or their division makes it so that it's tougher for them. But I think their team will be fine. And I think the Giants will kind of fall back to earth. I don't really buy into them 100%. I just wonder, like the Diamondbacks have so much talent. Like, is he going to be able to get consistent at bats if he struggles for a little bit? Or is he one of these big names that comes up and, struggles for a week and then they send him back down again? Like, I'd hate to do that.
Yeah, that's what happened to Blaze Alexander last year. Came up scorching hot out of spring, made the team, was up there for a month and a half, and then just kind of fizzled out. I hope it's not like that with him, but where do you play him? You're not going to play him over Perdomo at short. You're not going to play him over Marte at second, obviously, not Suarez. So I don't know. We'll see where he gets used. But he's got to come up and perform, or like you said, he's back down to AAA for sure.
Yeah. Unless they're willing to trade for something, but
that's true too. Dalton Rushing, he is one of the Dodgers' top prospects after they DFA Austin Barnes, who had been there forever. Yeah. They DFA Barnes. They're bringing up Dalton Rushing, and he's making his MLB debut tonight against the Athletics. So,
yeah, I mean, the Dodgers don't care. They're just going to bring up whatever it takes to win. Like they're not playing games. Like they're trying to win, and people don't like that about them, but. As a White Sox fan, it's nice to see a team like, they'll do whatever it takes to win. Like their ownership group does not care if other teams, throwing shade on the Dodgers because they feel like they've got 9 pitchers that are all-star level. They just keep loading up. And I'm sure Dodgers fans are ecstatic about it.
Yeah. Hey man, how's it going? Nice to see you, man. Yeah. The Diamondbacks are my second favorite team. I watch them every night after the Red Sox games are over. I got the new hat. I love the D-backs. I love everything they are. The starting pitching, the rotation. They're just fun to watch for me.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a D-backs fan. So Cardinals are my National League team. White Sox are my American League team. I'm a White Sox fan. My wife's family is all Cardinals fans. And I live in Missouri, so I've kind of been indoctrinated a little bit because it's a far drive for me to go to White Sox games. And let's be honest. There's no reason for me to go to a White Sox game.
Yeah, right.
So why would? Yeah. No, I got family that are Cubs fans. I don't like
them. Speaking of Cardinals, Matt Carpenter announces his retirement. 259 career batting average, 1,257 career hits, 179 home runs, 659 RBIs, 28.6 career WAR. Nice little career out of Matt Carpenter. And I think the best thing for him was when the Yankees called him off the couch and he went out and hit 6 home runs in 6 straight games, and you're just like, dude, what?
Yeah, he kind of came back from the dead a little bit there. He's kind of had like a utility guy DH end of his career, which has been kind of cool. I like when guys can finish out their career and be useful. Obviously, he's not a everyday player anymore, but he's got a chance of being in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Carpenter does
for sure.
And had some super solid years with the Cardinals.
Yes, he did. Yeah, it was great. All right. Rivalry weekend this weekend. Some key matchups, just kind of go over them real quick. Subway Series, Soto back to the Bronx. I'm tuning in tomorrow night to see the Yankees reaction because the Yankees fans are going to give it to him.
Yeah, they're going to boo him. So
yeah,
I don't mean I'm not a Yankees fan, so I don't have the animosity towards Soto for taking the money. But how can you blame him for taking that contract? Like, it was an insane amount of money. Like anybody else would have taken that contract too.
Yeah. You'd be stupid not to. I don't. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the Mets have probably been better than the Yankees this year so far. Like, that's not like the Mets have struggled.
Yeah, that's going to be a good series to watch. I think it'll be competitive for sure.
Oh, yeah. They're both good.
Yeah. Mariners at Padres. Are we in for a slugfest? Both teams are playing pretty well right now.
Seattle's offense is crazy. I don't get it. I don't know how they're doing it. I mean, Padres are going to hit for sure, but yeah, it'll be a slugfest.
Yeah, I agree. Athletics at Giants. Does the A's offense keep rolling against Logan Webb?
Take Logan Webb against the Athletics offense. I like the A's too, but I mean, I feel like Soderstrom and those other guys are pretty potent, but yeah, I'm going with Webb over those guys.
Yeah, the A's have been a pleasant surprise to watch this year. I have loved watching them. A lot of young talent. They've been a blast to watch. They just need some pitching here pretty soon. But yeah. All right, Cardinals and Royals. Here we go. Inter Missouri matchup.
Yeah,
Cardinals are hot. Royals are hot. Who wins the battle in Missouri?
I'm going with the Royals on this one. I believe in them more than the Cardinals. Sorry to all my family that are Cardinals fans, but this is not a Royals hat, by the way, right here.
Oh.
So not trying to make any statement here. This is a Kansas City Monarchs hat.
Nice.
So different franchise, but yeah, Royals are the better team. Cardinals are kind of surprisingly around 500. I'm not buying what the Cardinals are doing for the full season yet. They might pull it out, but I think the Royals are, if it wasn't for the Tigers in that division, I'd have a lot of faith in the Royals pulling it out.
Yeah, I agree. So, all right. Well, Justin, it was great having you on. Thank you for stepping in for Harrison tonight. Really appreciate it. We will see you on Sunday. We're going to go over your top 50 list. I am ecstatic for that. Can't wait to hear how you came up with your formula and to tell you how wrong you are. Just kidding. But
I mean, I am sure that people will have some complaints. So I'm expecting. We'll see if their complaints match up with mine. Probably not. Usually the things that I get up in arms about don't match up with the general population. So we'll see.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for hopping on. I'm going to stay on. I'm going to finish the show here. But thanks for stepping in. It means a lot. So we'll see you on Sunday, buddy. All right. See you. All right, chat. You're going to help me carry the rest of this show here. So Cardinals, Royals. I'm with Justin here. I think the Royals win this series. I don't really believe in the Cardinals here. Yes, CBR, the A's are surprising, and the Giants look good too right now, but I'm not sure if the Cardinals the Giants will be there at the end. I mean, I don't think the A's are going to be there at the end either, but that's going to be a fun series to watch for me for sure. Good, Captain. You'll be there on Sunday. Good. You'll see Justin again there. All right. Next series, Astros at Rangers. Does McCullers bounce back after what the fans did to him? Now, I can't believe the fans gave him all those death threats like they did after his last start. It was completely inexcusable on fans' part. We have to do better as fans. I know we have more access to these players now that they have social media than we ever have had before. But there's no need for it. In the grand scheme of things, it's a game. And they're trying to do their job the best they can. The guy doesn't want to go out there and give up 10 runs in an outing, right? And then go home and receive death threats. It's not all right. I think he does bounce back, but I think this is the Rangers series to have. I believe in Eovaldi more than I do the Astros now. It will be an interesting interesting series for me for sure. But yeah, I'm with you, Captain. I don't understand it. Like the fans know that they haven't seen McCullers in 2 years. Hadn't pitched since the World Series of what, 23, 22? I think it was 22. Like I don't understand why those death threats came. Right. And it was a game in May. Right. His second start back or third start back, whatever. It absolutely crazy. No need for it at all. But I think the Rangers take this series. I don't really believe in the Houston Astros right now. I don't know what their identity is. But yeah, I'm taking the Rangers here for sure. Guardians at Reds. We got Tanner Bybee versus Brady Singer Friday night. Who wins the Battle of Ohio? This one's a tough one for me. I like the Reds. I like how young they are. I like how exciting they are. But the Guardians just seem to always find a way to win. I wish this game was in Cleveland, so then Francona could go back to Cleveland and get the recognition he deserves, I should say, presently. But yeah, I don't know. This one's a toss-up for me. What do you guys think in the chat? I don't know which way to go with this one, but I think I'm leading towards Guardians because they just don't beat themselves. So that's who I think comes out on top for the Battle of Ohio. CBR, yeah, it was just unwarranted. There's no need for it. We talked about the Jarren Duran situation a couple weeks ago. Then this came up. I know we pay a lot of money to see these athletes perform and perform well, but if they don't, they don't. There's no reason to be mean and throw hate at players for performance. I just don't get it. Okay, Captain's a low-key Ohio baseball fan, so Guardians like that. Yeah, Guards are a good squad. All right, so you guys are kind of with me, going Guardians there. They are. They're just a solid team year after year, and I think they will come on top. Experience over youth there. But Brady Singer's had a pretty good year so far. He's had some really good starts for them, so this could be an interesting matchup Friday night. I don't know, but it's Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, I say it all the time, undervalued. Yeah, Brady Singer's 4-2. He's got a 5 ERA, so a little high, 39 strikeouts in 41 innings. But yeah, this is a good point, Johnny. Reds at home could be a problem for the Guardians, but I think Guardians take them. And Steven Kwan, he's ridiculous up there too. His contact, his bat to ball skills are incredible, and Gold Glove defense. Yep, Steven Kwan is the real deal out there. So yeah, and like Justin said earlier, that AL Central is going to be a dogfight. I mean, it's the Guardians, the Royals, and the Tigers. Like the Twins have won 11 straight and are still in 4th place, I believe. Like that's not necessarily good. I mean, obviously. So I don't know what happens with the Twins going forward. But I mean, the top 4 teams are at least 4 games over 500 or more. So it's going to be an interesting race. But do you mean Oregon State legend Steven Kwan? Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. And then this is the matchup I'm looking forward to. Braves at Red Sox. Obviously a little bias here because I am a Red Sox fan. But Chris Sale going back to Fenway Park against Garrett Crochet. So 2 southpaws going at it Friday night, 7:10 first pitch. I am all for it. But this is going to be a great matchup. Yeah, Johnny, AL Central is unreal. What a fun race that will be come September. Yeah, I think all 4 teams are still going to be there. I think the Twins do kind of fall back to earth a little bit, but the other 3 will be there for sure. Yeah, Braves at Red Sox, Sail back to Fenway. This is the matchup I'm looking forward to the most because of my Red Sox bias. Just going to be honest. And sail back to Fenway. So I want the Red Sox to come out here. They need a win against a good team desperately. They need to get over this 500 baseball hump that they've been on. Red Sox need bullpen help tremendously. It's a glaring hole, almost as bad as we need a first baseman, Rafi Devers. But yeah, I'm pulling for the Red Sox. I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be a great series. Yeah, Boston Braves rivalry for sure. Always look forward to the Braves and Red Sox series. They're always good. This one's going to be no different. So looking forward to that. All right. So since I don't have Harrison, I'm going to do this for you guys. Who is this guy? So I'm going to give you some clues. I'm going to throw up the picture, and you guys in the chat, tell me who it is. Got it? All right. Hopefully it's not too hard tonight, but here we go. Who is this MLB player? Played from 1985 to 1997 for the Cardinals and Dodgers. Rookie of the Year in 1986. Three-time All-Star in 88, 95, and 96. Wore number 38 for both teams. Who is this guy? Does anybody know who this guy is? I hope it's easier than normal. Yeah, hopefully, Captain. Do we know who this guy is? This is... see if I can give you any more clues on this guy here. We got rookie of the year in 86, like I said. Played for the Cardinals till 92 and then finished with the Dodgers 93 to 97. Yes, Willie Williams. Good, Willie. Todd Worrell. Nice job, chat. There we go. Todd Worrell, 50 and 52. 3.09 career ERA, 628 strikeouts, 694 and 2/3 innings, 256 saves, 10.9 career WAR. Nice job, Willie, on that one. That's all right. I don't think you did spell it wrong. You're good. All right. Here is the next one. Who is this MLB player? Catcher for the Reds from 99 to 06, Royals in 07, and Cardinals from 08 to 2010. No league award during his career, but pretty reliable backstop for the Reds from 01 to 05. Played a lot of games for the Reds during this time. Who is this guy? Like I said, played for a lot of different teams, like 3 different teams, but he's pretty much known for his time with Cincinnati during that stretch as the backstop there. Yeah, that was a good pull for Todd Worrell. That was a great pull. Dang, should have thought of that one. Yeah. Anybody got this guy? Catcher. Let's see. His best home run year was in 2003, where he hit a whopping 16 home runs and drove in 50. Best batting average year, 260 in 2005. But Joe Dirt, it totally does look like Joe Dirt for sure, but it's not Joe Dirt. Not Shohei Ohtani, obviously. It is Jason LaRue. Nice job, Captain. 231 career batting average, 628 career hits, 96 home runs, 348 RBIs, 8.9 career WAR. Nice pull, Captain. Nice job, Jason LaRue. Nice work. All right. Next one. Chat's 2 for 2 tonight. Love it. Let's keep it rolling. Who is this MLB player? Played from 94 to 07 for the Brewers, Rockies, Mariners, Padres, Brewers again, Twins, and Diamondbacks. Two-time All-Star, third and first baseman, 1997 and 2000 were the years he went to the All-Star game. Wore number 26 in his first stint with the Brewers, number 7 with the Rockies, Mariners, and Padres. Who is that guy? This guy was pretty steady for the Brewers there for quite a while. Played from the Brewers from 94 to 99. That's where his first All-Star was. His second All-Star was 2000 with the Rockies. Let's see. Any other special notes on him? Nope, just the two-time All-Star. His best year, I would say, was in 99, 198 hits, 15 homers, 88 RBIs. Corey Hart's a great guess. It's not Corey Hart. Corey Hart's a great guess. We had Corey Hart on a couple of weeks ago as a question, but it's not him. Corey Hart was like 1.5 feet taller than this dude. Corey Hart was a big guy coming right after Richie Sexton there. But, all right, I'll give you about 5 to 10 more seconds, chat. Oh, nice CBR. You got it. Jeff Cirillo. Nice job. 296 career batting average, 1,598 career hits, 112 home runs, 727 career RBIs, 34.5 career WAR. Nice job, CBR. All right, 3 for 3 in the chat tonight. Nice work. All right, next one. Who is this MLB player? Pitched from 06 to 19 for the Twins, Padres, A's, Cardinals, Astros, Phillies, Rockies, and Phillies again. Two-time All-Star. Best known for his very funky delivery. And he also had a really devastating changeup, if I remember right. So, who is this guy? I think I remember this guy. Not Chad Bradford, but really close. I mean, he pretty much did. I remember this guy, honestly, mostly with the Astros. And I think it was because he was on like MLB The Show during that day, and they made him disgusting. You couldn't hit him on MLB The Show when he was there. But he was like a 3/4 sort of submarine-ish delivery with a crazy changeup. But yeah, he played for a lot of teams. Yeah, Chad Bradford, talk about scraping knuckles on the ground. That dude, man, I don't know how he didn't hit his knuckles off the ground. But yeah, not Chad Bradford. Yes, nice job. Here we go. Pat Neshek is correct. Nice job. 36 and 25 win-loss record, 2.82 ERA, 471 Ks, 488 innings pitched, 10.6 career WAR. Nice job. Yeah, Pat Neshek. Nice work. All right. Next one. Who is this MLB player? Played from 98 to 2010 for the Devil Rays, the Mariners, the Giants, the Yankees, and the Cardinals. All-Star in 2002 for the Devil Rays, switch-hitting outfielder, wore number 2 everywhere but the Yankees and Cardinals, obviously because of Jeter and Red Schoenweiss. Who is that guy? I think this one should be an easier pull for you guys in there in the chat. Like I said, through right-handed switch hitter, all-star in 02. We got never hit double. Oh, no, just kidding. He had one 20 home run season in 2005 when he split time with the Mariners and the Giants. His all-star, like I said, 2002, had 181 hits on that season. It is Randy Wynn. Nice job. John Carter got it. Brandon got it. And Edward, he's a baseball player. I know that much. Yes. Nice job, John and Brandon. Captain, last name starts with a 0. Willie, oh, here we go. Everyone's got it. Randy Wynn. Nice job. 284 career batting average, 1,759 career hits. Pretty good career there, hits-wise. 110 career home runs, 662 RBIs, 27.5 career WAR. Nice job, chat. You're killing it tonight. Nice work. All right. I got 2 more for you here. Here we go. Who is this MLB player? Played from 86 to 99 for the Athletics and Twins. 3-time All-Star catcher, winning an All-Star MVP in 1988. WAR number 36 across his entire MLB career. Who is that guy? I think y'all should get this one, I think, too. Or if not, you've definitely heard the name. Pretty steady backstop there for the A's. 122 games, 130, 114, 129. Guy was always in there. Yes, nice job. We got it all the way down. Willie, Terry Steinbach. Yes, John. Terry Steinbach and Brandon. Terry Steinbach is correct. 271 career batting average, 1,453 career hits, 162 career home runs, 745 RBIs, 28 career WAR. Yes. Yeah, everyone got it. Nice. Steinbach and Terry Steinbach. Nice job, fellas. All right. Last one here for me this evening. Who is this MLB player? Played from 13 to 18 for the Braves and the Astros. DH, catcher, and left fielder. Best known for his crazy backstory and also hitting a one-handed home run when his bottom hand slipped off the bat. Who is that guy? Yeah, Brandon, right on it. Nice job. Yes, Evan Gaddis is correct. Nice job. Everybody got it. Brandon, John, nice. Rolling right in with those. Evan Gaddis, and this is the picture of him hitting the home run with one hand. This thing, it was crazy when I saw the replay of this. Just shows how country strong this guy was. 248 career batting average, 605 career hits, 139 home runs, 410 RBIs, and an 8.2 career WAR. This guy had a very interesting backstory for sure. So the Braves selected him in the 23rd round of the 2010 MLB draft, and then just kind of left for a while. He kind of got in a slump and kind of left. And I heard he was living in his van for quite a while. I think it was between college and pros, and just kind of decided to go back into baseball. So So I guess it says here he is a potential draft pick in the first 8 rounds of the '04 Major League Draft. He instead intended to go to college. Rice offered him a scholarship. He accepted the offer to Texas A&M, but he had a lot of anxiety. His mother actually brought him to rehab. He had a 30-day inpatient stay, and then got the help he needed, and went on and became a professional baseball player for a little bit, and just absolutely crazy road to the show. But that's what makes Jose Altuve. Yeah, nope, good guess. Yep, Evan Gaddis, good. The No Glove Club, yeah, man, absolutely. I got the guys with no batting gloves. I love it. Moises Alou, who's Brad Miller, all those guys. But yeah, I remember Gaddis. What a story. Yes, his van was down by the river for sure. Absolutely. But I just like guys like that make me sick to a degree where it's just like, yeah, like I'm just gonna hang up baseball and then pick it up like 3 years later and still be able to go play pro baseball. It's just absolutely crazy. Like I consider myself a pretty good baseball player growing up and in college, but it just shows that these guys are at an absolute another level when it comes to playing this game at that level. It's absolutely insane. But all right. That is all I had for tonight. Does anybody in the chat have anything to bring up before we head off for the weekend? Till I see you guys on Sunday. Anybody? See, I hit with no batting gloves myself, Captain. I just load them up with pine tar and hit barehanded. I hated the feel of batting gloves. I still do. I don't know why. I just always have. So it's always been no batting gloves for me. But I never understood. Yeah, the Cam Boozer story is also, it's very much like that for sure. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, John. The Twins 11 straight. Correa and Buxton hurt in that collision today. I just, that Twins team, man, needs to get any of the bad juju out of Target Field. They get hurt so much. I don't understand it. They have so much talent there. They just can't get them on the field for a full season. I'll never understand it there. Twins win 11 straight, still in 4th place. That's an issue. I don't really know. Baez is good when his team is good. I'm couldn't agree more. I mean, it's easy to get going when that whole team is going. That Tigers team is incredibly good. Did I say Twins? I meant Tigers. Whatever. That Tigers team is incredibly good. Easy to get going when the lineup's going. Agree. And Baez seems to be back from the dead. So good for the Tigers. I think he needed that position change out of shortstop. Get him out of his own head. Just get up there and hit. It's good. John, welcome to my world. What do I think about the Pete Rose Hall of Fame thing? So we spent the first half an hour kind of talking about Pete Rose. We can touch base on it again if we want. Me personally, at this point, I'm kind of separating the two things. I'm separating Pete Rose baseball player, Pete Rose person. Pete Rose baseball, no doubt, as every baseball fan out there should say, is Hall of Famer, right? Everything he did on the field is Hall of Fame. And that's what I personally believe the Hall of Fame should be. I believe the Hall of Fame should be on-field accomplishments as well. Now, I get the whole, he was a manager when he was betting, which you can argue was an on-field thing. I completely understand that. Keep that completely off his plaque. Don't even mention anywhere in the Hall of Fame that he was a manager. Just his on-field as a player. That's what goes on his plaque. Don't mention he was an MLB manager at all, because that's the black mark on his career and the person, right? What he did on the field is Hall of Fame worthy. That's what I think should be in. Same thing with Shoeless Joe, right? And it's hard to argue. The whole throwing the World Series thing in 1919, he hit like 386 or something like that. It's hard to say that he threw the game when you're hitting close to 400 in the series. I mean, no. If he's 0 for 19 with 18 Ks, then yeah, we got something to talk about. But he wasn't. So for me, it's still like a very long process for Pete Rose to get in the Hall of Fame. I completely understand it. But at this point, keep them completely separate and going forward. What he did on the field versus the type of person he was. I keep bringing this up. The whole NFL Hall of Fame. You have 3, possibly 4 murderers in there, but what they did on the field, like, is celebrated in there. And it should. They were disgusting on the field. They were so good on the field. Were they great humans? No. But O.J. Simpson, all the stuff with Ray Lewis, you got Lawrence Taylor, you got all those stuff, right? So you have to separate the two. The whole character clause thing to me just feels like gentleman's club. It's like that clique in high school that you just can't get into unless you're one of the guys. Like, I hate that. That's not what it should be. And all of his stuff's in the Hall of Fame anyways in exhibits. So yes, I get that it's polarizing. I really do. My personal opinion is you got to separate those two somehow. But yeah, they're not taking terrible people out. That's the thing. We talked about it. Roberto Alomar is actually banned from the MLB, but he is in the Hall of Fame because he was banned after. So he can't have anything to do with the MLB, but he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame because they're not going to kick him out after. But yeah, I agree, John. Chris says, I think he should be in. It should be noted that he did bet on games on his plaque, though. And that's fair, too. I don't mind that take at all, Chris. I like that. You know, like, it's the steroid guys, too. It's going to come up in a few years with the steroid guys, right? And go ahead. Put them in a separate wing if you have to, or put that Barry Bonds hit 762 home runs during the steroid era, something to that degree. That's completely fine. If you want to call it out as it is, you are more than welcome to. I think that's absolutely fair. And Willie, I'm with you. He was baseball through and through while playing. I remember he said, I walked through hell in a gasoline suit to play baseball. Yeah, it's hard to argue that point. And I am just young enough where I wasn't blessed enough to see any of Pete Rose's career, really. I was just too young. But every clip, the documentary on HBO of him playing the game, how every kid should look at and be like, that's how you should play the game all the time. 150 miles an hour and be able to run through walls. The intensity that guy brought to every at-bat, every trip around the bases in the field, that's how the game should be played. And that's what should be celebrated. You don't have to celebrate the human if you don't want to. I completely understand that. But you can celebrate the player that he was. And I think we're at that point where, you know, Manfred's comments about he poses no threat to the game anymore, which, I mean, obviously he can't, right? Unfortunately, you know, he's passed. He can't pose a threat to the integrity of the game anymore. I get that. So we can retroactively celebrate what his career was. And you guys have won. You got what you wanted. You did not put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame during his lifetime. You won. MLB in the Hall of Fame won. Now you can put him in and just put this all behind us. Because now, every time the Hall of Fame voting comes out, we don't have to talk about it anymore. Because you've done the right thing and put him in the Hall of Fame. So, allegedly. Like, all of it's allegedly. I mean, I think the MLB does have a lot of stuff that has not been made public on Pete Rose that could change a lot of minds, Captain. But Yeah, I don't know. And Johnny, Shoeless Joe should be in. It was 100 years ago. Yeah, what he did was wrong, but his career and story was a huge moment in baseball history. Yeah, Justin was on here earlier, Nostalgic Baseball Geezer. If you haven't followed him on Facebook, you need to. He does a lot of history stuff. He's incredible with it. Give him a follow, and he would be able to talk to this more than I would. But yes, Shoeless Joe's career is definitely in, and agree. It was over 100 years ago that this happened. The fact that he's just now getting pardoned for it is ridiculous at this point. And like I said, after the stats he put up, it's hard to say that he was the guy throwing games. Maybe he collected money, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But it's done. It's in the past. We can put it behind us. And again, if you need to put something special on his plaque, fine, do it. But he deserves to be in. All baseball fans know who Shoeless Joe Jackson is anyways. So just put him in. Doesn't matter. John's with me. Should be on-field criteria. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right. So let's get into this. These comments are coming in faster than I can keep up with, fellas. Hold on. So, do I think it's time to let Bonds, Sosa, Clemens, McGuire, A-Rod in? Yes. I think it is. I think it is. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be the same thing as Pete Rose, I think. So the other part of this that I don't think the Hall of Fame wants to deal with is if they elect Barry Bonds in or Clemens or Sosa, all these guys, they don't want to give them the potential stage to blow up the Hall of Fame voting process, right? Or whatever the Hall of Fame is about. If you would have given Pete Rose that opportunity to speak at his Hall of Fame induction, I don't know if he wouldn't have blown up the entire HOF voting committee. Like, I don't know. Would Bonds do it? I don't know. Clemens? He said he doesn't really even care about the Hall of Fame because of the gentleman's club that it is. He's come out and said it. So I don't know if they want to potentially give these guys the platform with the potential to blow up the Hall of Fame. So I don't think we see them in their lifetime either. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do revisit the steroid. I'm not too sure. Do I think they should be in? Yes, 100%. You can put in Barry Bonds, career home run leader during the steroid era. Boom. Roger Clemens, 7 Cy Young Award winner, the most of all time during the steroid era. Boom. Done. And agree, Captain. The roid wing. Yep. If you have to put them in a separate spot, fine. It is what it is. But the steroid era is an era in baseball. And you can't just wipe that out. You can't. And you've arguably already let people in that could have used steroids, right? Ivan Rodriguez, Jeff Bagwell. Yeah, maybe not caught during that time. You have to assume that everybody did. I don't know. It's hard. CBR, I think the issue people have is if Pete and Joe get in, so should the steroid guys. They should make a controversial section of Cooperstown. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we're at. Like, there's so many different eras in baseball, and there's a black mark in every era of baseball. You have the betting in the early 1900s, right? You have amphetamines and grainies in the 80s. You get steroids in the 90s, early 2000s. You have the Astros in 2017 with the trash cans. You got cocaine and with strawberry and all them. Like, there are so many different marks in each era of baseball that it's hard to just leave out the steroid guys. So there's a gap between 94 and 2010 where you're just not going to put anybody in. You have to. I don't understand it. I really don't. I mean, if you want to market separately, saying they use steroids or potentially use steroids, or they were in the steroid era, fine. But they need to be in. It's silly at this point. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. You don't do all that by accident. You can take all the stories in the world, and it won't help you make contact to a baseball. I agree, Johnny. Best hand-eye coordination I've ever seen. You talk to former players, current players, coaches, managers, execs. They said Barry Bonds, even before he started taking steroids, was one of the best bat-to-ball guys ever. And steroids doesn't make you do that. Steroids helps you recover faster so you can work out more, which makes you bigger, right? The myth around steroids is that it makes your muscles bigger. No, it just like HGH, it kind of makes the recovery time shorter so you can lift more, which in sense you get bigger. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I think they should be in. And this CBR again, an absolute kick in the. It's not even just a kick to the face; it's a kick straight to the junk too. To wait till the player dies to be put in, and that's what I mean by the Hall of Fame won. The Hall of Fame accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. MLB accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. They waited for Pete Rose to die, and then they let him back in. Yeah, they got a push from Donald Trump. I don't want to bring politics really into it, but they got the push from Trump, the petition from Rose's family, like all together in one wing. And I think it was kind of Manfred just being like, I need these guys off my back. And what I do, I can reinstate him into the MLB. He doesn't pose a threat to the MLB anymore. The Hall of Fame has nothing to do with me. So let's just do that. Like, I'll reinstate him, and then my hands are washed. MLB is done with Pete Rose. We don't have to talk about him anymore. He can no longer hurt us. But yeah, absolute kick to the junk. I agree with you, CBR, 1,000%. I mean, so Smooth Will, on the documentary, it is interesting to listen to it. And if you haven't seen it, you guys probably should if you can go. It's on HBO Max. Sure. The name of it is escaping me right now. It might be just Pete Rose, or it's Charlie Hustle and the Matter of Pete Rose. It's like a 4 or 5 episode series. It's really good. Like, they go over his career, they go through his interviews, they go through his off the field stuff. It's very well done. Like, even when I'm watching the documentary, I'm like, okay, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Second episode, I'm like, maybe he should be out. And then third episode, I'm like, nope, he's in. Fourth episode, I'm like, he should be out. So it's done very well. And Giamatti passed away soon after all this went down. So, I mean, it's it wouldn't surprise me. It was probably a lot of stress put on Giamatti during that time for sure. Paul Merrill's another guy. I mean, definitely should be considered for the Hall. Absolutely. Hall of Fame Roid Wing brought to you by who? Balco, right? Has to be by Balco. Who else would it be by? I mean, has to be. I think so. Johnny says, I think A-Rod would be the most likely to be in there. He's too big and famous for them to ignore it. Yeah, I mean, the stats that A-Rod, my bad, that was a bad slip. A-Rod put up, like, it's hard to argue that. There's a lot of guys during that era that should be in, and it's a shame that they're not. But I think at some point we will, whether it's in our lifetime, I don't know. But for me, I know it's the Hall of Fame and Baseball Museum. They have these guys' uniforms hanging up in exhibits. They already celebrate their career accomplishments on the field in these exhibits. What's a plaque at that point? Like, just do it and just label it steroid era, like I said. Roid Wing's a great idea. Let's get the petition started. Boom. We're on it. Let's go. I mean, we got at least, 10 signatures here in the chat? We got it. And Captain, this is a great point. Yeah, everyone was on it. Ken Caminiti came out in that article in Sports Illustrated when it really started to blow up, and he said he was confident that 85% or more of MLB baseball players were taking some performance enhancing drug, whether it was steroids, HGH, whatever. Everybody was on it. Absolutely. I'm with you. It's an error in baseball. Can't just wipe it away. It happened. And it saved baseball. And my point that I make every time we bring this up, you put Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame. Bud Selig was the commissioner during the steroid era. And you put him in because he saved baseball. No, he didn't. He watched the game like this while everybody was taking steroids, putting butts in seats because they were hitting the ball 6,000 feet. You can't celebrate the commissioner for saving the game and turning a blind eye to steroids and putting him in the hall and leaving everybody else out. Absolute hypocritical. All right. Smooth Will, who's your top 5 baseball pure hitters of all time? Whew. That's a tough one. For me, pure hitters of all time, Ted Williams, Tony Gwynn, Barry Bonds, Rogers, Hornsby, Ty Cobb, right off the top of my head. I mean, I could probably put a few more names in there, but those are the kind of the 5 that come to my mind right off the top. But yeah, so Vance, I mean, and I completely understand this point, and I respect it. I really do. When it comes to Rose, absolutely not. Betting and gambling on his team, being in a position of authority as manager, that doesn't just kill a team, it can kill an entire sport. If folks believe things are just bought off and rigged, I mean, I get it. His moral character was terrible, and there's no excuse for it. There really isn't, and I get it. And I know the Hall of Fame is separate from MLB, and that's where the divide is. And the Hall of Fame can kind of rig the voting process to put anti-Rose guys in there in the Veterans Committee to vote him in. So I don't know. I don't know which way it goes. But for me, it should be separate. I don't know why we have got this character clause in there. But I also get why you don't want to celebrate bad human beings. I completely understand that. But again, NFL has 4 or 5 murderers in it, but we still celebrate their on-field accomplishments. I think that's how baseball should be. That's my own personal opinion, but I completely respect and get your side of it too. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer to this. Everybody has their opinion to it, and each side is not wrong. Right? I mean that's the beauty of it, is both sides are correct in this. Incredible baseball player, deserves to be in, but does his off-field stuff outweigh that? It could. I don't know. Maybe. Johnny, this is a good point. There's so many guys who took routes that sucked at baseball, and they were making great players even greater. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think there was a lot of borderline guys that took it and became everyday Major League Baseball players, but then those superstars that then started taking them just separated that gap even more. It made the Barry Bonds the Barry Bonds, but I don't know. Who was the National League player they took back the MVP trophy? Was that the Ryan Braun? Did they retract his MVP? Because I know he got hit with PEDs, but I don't know if they ended up taking it away. Did they? So Matt Kemp of ESPN says that Ryan Braun should lose his MVP award, but I don't know if it actually did. He won it in 2008, I think. Nope, 2011. Sorry. So I don't know if he actually lost that or not, but yeah, man. Yeah. Well, A-Rod's not third on the all-time home run list anymore because Pujols is up there. Pujols is the with 700 home runs, so it goes, Bonds, Aaron's. I mean, yeah, Bonds, Aaron, Ruth, Pujols, and then I think A-Rod is next. Um, if my numbers are correct. So, yeah, Ken Caminiti was the one that blew the horn, and then Canseco's book, like all of it. But yeah, and this is this is my argument is like after the strike in '94, baseball was dwindling, right? The average fan didn't want to go anymore. The ticket prices started to skyrocket. I mean, they're ridiculous now, but tickets were skyrocketing. Nobody was going. It was just really hard for baseball at that time, and fans were just like, we don't want to go see this product. It's terrible. And then the home run started coming, and people started coming back to the ballpark, spending money, big money. And then the home run chase in '98. You can't tell me that Seeley didn't know. He had to have. There's no way. He was laying his head on his pillow every night, going to bed, knowing that he was saving baseball, and he didn't care what it took. That's it. But John Cotter, Musial, all-time hitters. Yeah, absolutely. Musial is up there. Absolutely 100% with you on that. Sam Musial, pure hitter for sure. Yeah. And Royds made baseball huge just because guys were putting the ball into the sun every game. They did. They brought the game back from the dead. It was a dying sport. We weren't sure if we were going to get it back after '94. Fans weren't high on baseball. I was a kid in '94. I was 10 years old. I would come home and watch the Cubs on WGN. As soon as I got off the bus, I'd run in, turn the TV on. And I remember the day that I came home and turned the Cubs game on, and it was Tom Brenneman and Steve Stone sitting there and saying there is no more baseball for the rest of the year. And I was, as a 10-year-old, I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. But after that, like, how were they going to get baseball back? And chicks dig the long ball. Sure enough, it came back. So. Yeah, and confused old man, agree. Roids didn't make Bond's eye to ball skills better. It didn't. The guy was absolutely ridiculous. Quick through the zone, short swing, pure, just absolutely insane. Yeah. And Johnny, yeah, agree. The Baseball Hall of Fame, not the MLB Hall of Fame. What he did was horrible, but as a player, there's no denying his greatness on the field for sure. Yep, roids hurt players too. They weren't as flexible. Yeah, we saw a lot of injuries. I'm a Red Sox fan, and the day I saw Nomar Garciaparra on the cover of Sports Illustrated, jacked out of his mind, I was like, something's fishy here. And then he gets traded to Chicago, rips his groin right off his bone, which is not a common injury. I knew something was going, but I skated that perfectly. Yeah, you're welcome, Vance. Not my first rodeo here. I usually have Harrison on here too to help me go back and forth. But yeah. And this is the other thing, confused old man. I get it. Bonds never got convicted. Clemens never got convicted. None of those guys did, really. They had the Mitchell report, but that was really a joke. It's hard. But at this point, just celebrate the error for what it is. Even if you don't want to celebrate it, at least acknowledge that it happened. And that's that. That's all you can do. Yeah. And this is another great point. It's a dying sport. They need the offense to appease the average fan. And home runs is what's do it. The sexy stuff is winning out right now, even in analytics, right? the high strikeouts for pitchers, the high home run hitters, or home run totals for hitters. That's what average fans want to see. Gone are the days where I can sit down with hardcore baseball fans and enjoy the chess match of Greg Maddux against, pick your hitter, right? Setting guys up high and in, soft stuff blowing away, busting them in with a two-seamer, change up blowing away, change up down and in. Gone are those days. I'm going to rear back, throw 110 miles an hour and try to blow it by you. And if I don't, okay, you hit it 450 feet. I'll try it again next time. Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to skip ahead to where you guys got your comments coming in. Yeah. And Brady Anderson's 50 home run blip. Yes, we did a show a couple months ago where it was like the greatest outlier seasons, and he is way up there. I think his next highest total of Brady Anderson was way down there. It was crazy, that 50 home run season that he had. His next highest home run total was 24 and 99. So he had 50 and 96. And then 24 and 99. So his home run totals go like this: 1, 1, 4, 3, 2, 21 and 92, 13 and 93, 12 and 94. That's a shortened season. Still 111 games though. 16 and 95, 50 and 96, 18, 97, 18 and 98, 24 and 99, 19 and 2000, 8 and 1 to end his career. I mean, absolutely crazy. Yeah. I mean, pitching it's one of the best. It's the best thing in sports, I think, right? Like, on defense, you're in total control of the ball. How all the other sports, if you're on defense, you don't have the ball. Baseball, you have the ball and you're on defense. It's incredible. It's so unique. And I love that chess matchup between the pitcher and batter, but it's not like that anymore. And I wish it could go back to that, but analytics, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's crazy now that if a pitcher does, Tanner Houck had one last year where he completed a game in 79 pitches. It was ridiculous. And they're calling it now, if you complete a game in under 100 pitches, they're calling it a Greg Maddux, which, I mean, the guy just put on a clinic every time he was on the mound. But, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Marcus Simeon's 45 home run season, that was a pretty big outlier. That's a good one. That wasn't that long ago. I think you're right. I think it was in Toronto. Let's see. Yeah, 45 in 2021 in Toronto after he left Oakland. Yeah, so he moved to Toronto in 2021 after COVID. Played 162 games, had 45 and 102. He was third in the MVP. But, I mean, he did have 33 homers in Oakland in 2019. So, I mean, there was power there. He just finally started, I think 2018 to 2024 is when he really started playing every day and not taking a break. Because 2018, 159 games played, then 162 in 2019, 53 in 2020. We all know that doesn't count. 2021, 162, 2022, 161, and then 2023, 162, 159 last year. So he's played a ton of games. But yeah, 45 is good. Let's see. Yeah, Jacoby Ellsbury, another one. He's still robbing the Yankees right now. I don't know if they're still paying him, but absolutely just stole from the Yankees because he did nothing when he got there. Jacoby Ellsbury in 2011, 32 homers, 105 RBIs. He had 2 more years in Boston after that with 4 home runs, 9 home runs on 13 went to the Yankees in 2014. And he played more games than I thought, but 16 homers, 7, 9, and 7 to end there. And batting average was 250s. So not great. But yeah, Jacoby Ellsbury is a great one. Who was the phenomenal pitcher he pitched for the Twins when they won the World Series? Jack Morris, right? Jack Morris was ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, nice. You're in Canada, so you cheer the Jays with diehard Tigers fans. Man, that Tigers fan is fun to watch. That Tigers team's fun to watch right now. They are incredible. I just love how they don't have like a ton of superstars on there, other than Schoolboy. Obviously, that dude's a menace. But they just have a lot of players that fill the holes that they need, and they perform day in and day out. I love their versatility. They are a fun ball club to watch, for sure. Yeah, that 2021 team for the Blue Jays they were stacked for sure. 4 guys over 100 RBIs is wild. Let's see. Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero, 111, Simeon, 102, Bichette, 102, and Teoscar, 116. Gurriel Jr., 84, Randall Grichuk, 81. God dang, they put up some numbers for sure. Crazy. 3 guys, 4 guys, or 3 guys in the top 15 in MVP voting. Yeah. That Blue Jays team was something else for sure. Cabrera carried the Tigers. If only Fielder could have done anything. Yep. Agree. That's a big what if. So Harrison and I have a running list of players that are in the what if category. Your Jacob deGroms, Mike Trout starting to enter that, unfortunately. Byron Buxton starting to enter that. Ronald Acuna possibly, if he can't get back and stay on the field. But we have a what if for sure. It's crazy. Jeff Kent's year, yeah, his MVP year, that was another outlier season. Sort of. Jeff Kent's the only MLB second baseman in Major League history to record 6 straight 100 RBI seasons. So Jeff Kent was very steady. And I don't think he got any Hall of Fame consideration at all either. And probably should have if you look back on it. 5-time All-Star, MVP, 4-time Silver Slugger. His average is 290, almost 400 home runs, almost 2,500 hits. So, borderline when you kind of look at the overall statistics, but when you look at second baseman of that era, hard to argue that he shouldn't have gotten consideration in that steroid era. So, yeah, it's a great one. The Jays in 93, that was a fun team to watch. That's when I really started getting into baseball, was watching the Jays team. Obviously, Joe Carter's sure. That's when I really started getting into baseball for sure. But yeah, thanks, Vance. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm usually on here with Harrison. We've been doing this for like 3.5 years. We cover all baseball teams. We're really Red Sox fans, and I like the Diamondbacks as like my second team to watch. I've been watching the Athletics a ton lately. I think they're young and they're exciting. But it's fun. We're just fans. We love coming on here and talking to you guys, the fans, about baseball as well. That's what we want to make this page and this podcast about, is you guys. Like, the fans are what keep us going with this show. So I know a lot of other baseball podcasts out there that don't interact with their audience, and everything that we put out on Facebook and on YouTube and everything like that is for you, and we answer your comments. So that is us. It's just me and Harrison. And we love that interaction with all of you guys. So really appreciate it. We work really hard at it, and we love everybody that comes back and joins us week to week. So we're on Sunday nights, Thursday nights, but yeah, Carlos Delgado, man, that dude was insane. I loved watching him. Career walks leader. That era of Blue Jays was fun to watch too. Vernon Wells, Carlos Delgado. I hated them because I saw them all the time being a Red Sox fan, and they were dang good. But Roy Halladay, I mean, that Jays era was absolutely a blast to watch. But yeah, it's fair, Johnny. This is fair. It was tough. But I mean, there was some great talent there for sure. Jeff Kent shit the bed in the playoffs. Yeah, that happens. I mean, yeah. Mike Trout could be a what if he accomplished a fair bit, but he could have been one of the best ever. CBR, with you 1,000% here. Mike Trout goes down as, to me, could have been top 5 of all time when all said and done, if stayed healthy. Now, I know that can fit for a lot of players throughout Major League Baseball history, right? I mean, that's baseball. There's a ton of what ifs. Like, I'm just talking about what ifs in this generation, and there's a lot of them. Steven Strasburg comes to mind too. He left early with his shoulder issues. We got robbed of Mike Trout. We got robbed of Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom is still, I mean, he's 35, 36 now, but he still brings it. But we lost a good chunk of his prime because his body just couldn't handle his talent, which is kind of mind-blowing to think about, that your body can't handle the talent you can produce. But that's Jacob deGrom in a nutshell. Like, his body can't handle it. It's crazy. Jays signing Tulo was a bad move. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one for sure. You guys are talking back and forth here. I was like, wait, I didn't say you didn't do anything for San Francisco. Okay. But yeah. Captain, thank you for this. Yeah, they say we're Red Sox fans, but we're real baseball fans. Appreciate that. Oh, thank you very much. But yeah, thanks, CBR. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Harrison's just under the weather. We usually bounce back and forth. We get pretty good dialogue. This is actually my first solo show, so I had Nostalgic Baseball Geezer on earlier, as some of you guys saw. So now I'm just kind of shooting the breeze with you guys, having a blast. But yeah, we're just baseball fans, and like I said, just come on. We're on Sunday nights. We do like a Red Sox show from 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, and then we do like league-wide 9 and on. And depending on what you guys bring to the show, is what we talk about. So like we have like a little outline, we talk about the news and stuff for the week, and then it's just kind of free form like this. So absolutely love it. So thank you for that comment. It means a lot to us. We work hard. So yeah. So yeah, this is another good point, Johnny. On another team, what does Mike Trout look like? Does he stay healthy? Does he perform? Does he have even better numbers? Like, I know he had Ohtani for a few years, right? I mean, you had the 2 best players in baseball, possibly, arguably you can say best 2 baseball players of this generation on the same team and still couldn't win. Mike Trout's 1 for 3 in the playoffs in his career. And that was the first year he came up as a rookie. It's tough, but baseball's cruel like that, right? I mean, you can have all the best players on your team and still the ball doesn't bounce your way and you can still lose. That's what happens. But it'd be interesting to see what Trout's career would be on a different team. He gets a different medical staff. He, gets somebody that can protect him around in the lineup other than just being him. It's just crazy. This guy still blows my mind. I mean, look at the beginning of the season. He already had 9 home runs. Yeah, he's hurt right now. but it's crazy what that guy does on the field. It's just health is a huge issue with him. Oh, this is pretty cool. Eric went to high school with former White Sox closer Bobby Jenks. That's really cool. That's cool. Yeah, we all have like little cool baseball connections like that. That's awesome. I got the privilege to play with a major leaguer when I was in college. He was 2 years below me, Charlie Furbush. I just went to a small D3 school, played baseball, and he came in, and you just knew he was different. He was just blowing everybody away. He went to the Cape Cod leagues that summer after his freshman year, started the All-Star game, transferred to LSU, got drafted by the Tigers, and then ended his career with the Mariners. He was just a reliever, lefty reliever. So it was really cool. But I've played against some pretty cool guys as well. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else have we got? This is an exciting MLB season. I agree with you. And it just, my worry is about what's coming up at the end of 26, because this season's shaping up to be a great one. 2026, we start with the WBC in March, hopefully another great season, and then we have the lockout. I hope that doesn't kill momentum of what we have going on. Now, there's a lot of tight races around the MLB. The NL West is going to be a blast to watch. The AL Central is going to be a blast to watch coming down the stretch. I know it's still crazy early, right? We're in the middle of May. We're a month and a half in. Sorry. But yeah, there's going to be some tight races. I think if the Red Sox could ever figure out what's going on in Fenway, I think they can compete with the Yankees, because the Yankees injuries, I think, are going to come back to hurt them eventually. And I think that could be a tight race. The Blue Jays, I don't know what to make of them. Like I said, AL Central, those top three teams are going to fight to the death. NL Central, Cardinals kind of came out of nowhere. I picked them to be last because I didn't think they had the pitching. They're sitting pretty good right now. AL West is still up in the air for me. Now, the Athletics are in second place. So for me, I don't think they're there at the end, but it makes that AL West a lot more interesting. And the Mariners are hitting like I didn't think they could. So it's cool. So it has been very exciting MLB season so far. A lot of cool things to watch. So, yeah. Played against Joe Mauer in high school. Dang, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, those guys, even when they're freshmen, they're different. So I got to face against Mark Rogers. He was a pitcher that came out of Maine. So I'm originally from Maine. And I'm a junior. We're in the playoffs. I hadn't seen him yet. And he's a 14-year-old kid, probably, 5'9", 5'10", skinny, not much meat on him. And he is just blowing gas by us. I'm talking 95 miles an hour at 14 years old. He throws the first one by me. I didn't even see it. Second one, I somehow fouled it off straight back, and I knew I was in trouble. When I fouled it straight back, I knew I was in trouble. He throws me a curveball I've never seen before. It started behind me. I bailed on it and just kept walking back to the dugout. I was like, yep, good. I'm good. White flag, all done. And he got drafted by the Brewers out of high school. Absolutely insane. Played hockey with Jerome McGinley. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's no huge blowout teams that are so far ahead right now. Yeah, is that the furthest race right now? I think is the AL East, because I think we got. Let's see. Yankees are 4 ahead. Oh, just skipped on me. Yankees are 4 ahead, and that's the biggest lead. So you got the Dodgers are up by a half a game to the Padres, 3.5 to the Giants, 5.5 to the Diamondbacks. Mets are up by 2.5 games, followed by the Phillies and Braves are 6 back. And the Braves did it today. They're the first team to start 0-7, I think it is, and come back and be 500. So good for the Atlanta Braves. Chicago Cubs are up by a game against the Cardinals. Brewers are 4 back. Yankees are 4 up. Red Sox and Blue Jays are tied at 4 back. Baltimore sitting in last, 9.5 games out, 15-27. Yeesh. Tigers are starting to get up to Yankee status here. They're 3.5 games up on the Guardians, 4.5 on the Royals. Mariners and Rangers are separated by a half game. Athletics dropped to third, so they're a game and a half out. So yeah, there's no runaways early. So that's good. WBC's in Houston in 26, not Arizona. That's good. Yeah, there's something going on with Chase Park too in the county, and I don't know. They need to make some renovations there. I know Harrison's talked about it a few weeks ago. I'll have to double check about that, but I don't know. What would you say about the Cardinals? Offensively, they've been great. Their bullpen seems to be getting in order. Yeah, to me, they've been a surprise. I honestly, in my preseason predictions, they didn't make any offseason moves. The MLBPA was like forcing them to make a move, and that's when they signed Maton, because I don't even think they were going to sign a free agent, and they were the only team to not to. And the MLBPA was giving them a hard time. I didn't think the Cardinals were going to compete. I thought they were going to be complete teardown mode and to get ready for their next GM, who, why am I blanking on it? I think they're getting Chaim Bloom. So Chaim Bloom's going into St. Louis. I think that he's going to build a farm team in there. And what he did for the Red Sox, he's going to do for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to be in great position in 4 or 5 years. But the Cardinals have some great pieces on that team. I think they've been a good, decent surprise to the start of the season. Didn't think that they would be there for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vlad Sr. was a different dude. I mean, I walked by him at Fenway Park. I was taking a tour with a group of kids that I was running a summer recreation program with, and he walked by us in the concourse. And I'm not a small dude. I'm 6'2", 200, and he was like 2 of me tall, 3 of me wide. I just a massive human being. He was crazy, not right. Yeah, Baltimore is unreal for me too. I called it at the beginning of the season. My preseason pick, I had him 4th. I had him finishing ahead of the Rays because they didn't replace Corbin Burns or Santander's production. I mean, Corbin Burns, an ace. We all know who Corbin Burns is. Santander, 40 and 100 guy. That's a lot of production to fill. And love what Tyler O'Neill did in Boston when he was healthy. He's not going to replace 44 and 100 in Baltimore. Him or Gary Sanchez, for that matter. I think you're starting to see the youth kind of to this point. Is Holiday a bust or too early? I think it's early, but I think you're seeing the youth kind of show its face a little bit. Like their inexperience is kind of showing a lot. I don't know. I don't know what to think of them. They need to hit free agency, I think, or make some deal for some pitching. Zach Eflin is a good pitcher. He's a middle of the rotation good pitcher. He's not an ace. I think like last year you had Burns at the top and you had Eflin too. That's fine. You got a solid 1-2 there. So I don't know where the Orioles go to this point, to be honest. Like I never would have put them at 15 and 27 to start the season. Like, that's crazy. I don't know if you need a manager change. I don't know if they just don't have the revenue to pick up new guys. I don't know what the issue is with them right now. But I think the youth is definitely showing. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Doing pretty well. Just talking some ball here. Yeah, Judge off to this start, man. I mean, 412 right now without Soto in front of him. I mean, this dude is a once in a lifetime hitter that we're blessed to see his career. He has blossomed into an incredible power hitter. When he first came up, that's what he was, power hitter, lower average, and now we're seeing him spray the ball all over the place. Like, he is a professional hitter, and you have to work your ass off to get him out. He's absolutely incredible. It's hard for me to say that as a Red Sox fan, but my God, Judge is unreal. I'm 6'2", 240 of an NBA team here in Portland. I've been next to some. Yeah, legit, man. It's crazy. I've stood next to some football players that weren't even in the NFL. They were trying to get their way back into the NFL. And I was tiny. I'm like minuscule next to these dudes. They're not even human beings. They are just absolutely crazy. Yeah. NBA players are imagine standing next to Shaq. I got to stand. My buddy in college was 6'6", 300. Massive human being. And like I said, I'm not small either, 6'2", 200. And we stood next to Josh Boone and Charlie Villanueva when they were on UConn. We went to the first round of the NCAA tournament, and they were in the concourse. And they were still a foot taller than my buddy, who's 6'6". And I'm just like, God dang, man, this is crazy. Yeah, it's a different world. Dodgers World Series. Listen, if Tommy Edman can get back, I think the Dodgers are in the World Series. That dude has an incredible year, but he got hurt. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if the injuries are going to be too much for this Dodgers team. Now, I will say that they did set themselves up nicely with stockpiling arms, right? They brought in 7 starters, the potential starters, knowing that, Dustin May was coming back, knowing that I'm missing the second guy. Who else am I thinking? Dustin May and someone else is coming back. Anyways, so, you got Snell knowing that. You got Sasaki knowing that. You're hoping that Glasnow is going to last more than a month. That didn't happen. But you knew you had guys that had a history of arm problems. So, and they did a good job protecting themselves there and bolstering that bullpen. They do have the depth. They do. But if they crack into this depth anymore, I think they're in trouble. Gonsolin, thank you, John. Thank you. Yes. So, like, those are key pieces to get back. 1,000%. I agree with that. And injuries are tough. I don't know. I love Mookie Betts. I love Freddie Freeman. I love the guys that are on that team. I think the injuries do come back to bite them. The NL is such a gauntlet compared to the AL. If they were in the AL, I'm like, yeah, Dodgers win, no problem. Like, no problem. The problem with the NL is there's so many great teams that can get hot and just steamroll everybody. I'm talking Phillies, I'm talking Braves, I'm talking Diamondbacks, I'm talking Padres, Cubs. There's just too many teams over there to get hot. Now, I'm not saying the Dodgers can't get hot and also return the favor, but I still listen. I'm with you, Johnny. I still think they make a very deep run. Absolutely make a deep run. But I just hope that they can hang on to like the injuries, or the injuries don't make too much of an impact on them. Yeah, the NL is absolutely incredibly deep, so it's going to be tough. Like whoever comes out of there is going to earn it big time. That's going to be a fun race to watch, because even the wild card teams are going to give the top teams a run for their money. Roki Suzuki's an interesting for me. I mean, I don't know. I ran through his stats earlier. He's given up 22 hits, 24 walks or something like that in 34 innings. Not great. A lot of control issues there. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see what he can do in a high pressure situation. Yeah, and this is where I'm at too. They're getting Clayton Kershaw back on Saturday. I mean, not the Clayton Kershaw he once was, but I'm sure it will turn around too. If you can get Glasnow and you can get Snell back, different team, complete different team. But we don't know timetables on their returns, so that's a big problem for the Dodgers going forward. Yeah. So I don't know. Ooh, this is a great question. What kind of contract do I think Kyle Tucker gets? The dude's on his way to an MVP. I don't know if I can put a number on it. I don't know if he won't get Soto money or Ohtani money. Now, I also thought that about Soto, and he ends up blowing it out of the water. So at this point, honestly, I don't know. I think he likes it in Chicago. I would not be surprised if he signs an extension in Chicago. It might be a little bit north of what Vladdy got with the Blue Jays, but similar years, I'm going to guess. Because Tucker is how old here? Kyle Tucker is 28. So we're looking at what? Realistically, a 10-year contract, maybe. So I could see maybe 10 years, 360, 10 years, 400. That would make him 40 million a year. Do we see higher than that? Do we see 10 years, 450? Yeah, he's still on the Houston contract, but he's a free agent at the end of this year. He definitely will get paid. Yeah, it's his final season. So, man, 10 years, 280. He's not going to get 15 years. 15 years would put him at 43. There's no way. I think 280 is too small, especially with the money that's been thrown around. Now, if you think 6 max, I mean, that's not a bad take. I don't mind that. It might be a 6 with some options. Like you might be a 10, but there's opt outs that start after 6. Kind of set like Soto's contract is, because then that way it protects. We'll just say the Cubs extend it. Then you have some opt outs to protect him or the team. So I mean, yeah, I don't mind that. It puts him at 36. Hard for him to find a job after 36, though. I think. Well, you think that's too much? How much money do you think annually he's worth a year? Do you think Soto's worth $55 million a year? I mean, 8 years, 280. Yeah, that's not bad. I could see that for sure. At 28, 10 is mandatory. See, that's where I was thinking, Captain, because 6 years, $1. Yeah. So at 28, I think 10's mandatory too, because what that does is it gives him job security until he retires, right? We've said it for the last few weeks talking about this, especially when the Vladdy stuff was going around, because all these young kids that are coming up right now are taking people's jobs. They are. They're too good and they're way cheaper than paying a superstar. But yet these superstars want job security. That's why they're seeking these 14, 15-year deals to make sure that they still have a job in 15 years. So Kyle Tucker is going to want to finish out his career. I think 10 years would be a solid contract that puts him at 38. If he wants to hang around in DH and he's still putting up numbers, he can bounce around the last 2 years. I think it's the years. I think you're right. I think I'm with you right here, Captain. I think it's more about the years than it is the money at this point. I mean, obviously he would like to get paid, but I think the years are the issue, and that was the issue with Vladdy and the Blue Jays was the years. It wasn't necessarily the money. So yeah, these guys want job security. Look at all these young kids coming up and taking all these starting jobs and making an impact right away. It's a thing. So these veterans want to have security. Wondering, do you think Kyle Tucker wants to play for the Yankees? That right field wall is tiny. I don't think it happens, but something to think about. I mean, I think there's certain franchises that every MLB player at some point in their career would love to play for, right? I mean, if you think about the history of baseball, there is a few bucket list teams for players. I think Yankees are one, Dodgers are another, and Red Sox are up there, and Cubs. I think those are definitely like historic franchises that you can be like, yeah, I played for the New York Yankees. I played for the Chicago Cubs. I don't know if he ends up going to the Yankees. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him at this point, but we'll see. CBR, I agree with Captain. The market dictates players' value and what teams need at the time. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the market's been a mess the last 2 years. You think of Ohtani, you think of Soto last year. The market's been everywhere. It's been hard for all of us to guess contracts because we have no idea what's going on, and where guys are valued, how many years. It is really hard. Yeah, I was just saying this, Captain. The market is off the rails. I had no idea how to even begin to put a value on the years or the money or whatever. I never in a million years would have thought Soto got $765 million with $55 million possibly if he opts in. Never would have guessed that in a million years. Didn't think he was worth it. Absolutely crazy. So I don't know. At this point, we're all just guessing because no clue what the market's going to dictate. Yeah, Vladdy took all this back. After coming out and saying he wasn't going to play for the Yankees, he's like, yeah, well, maybe I would. And it could have been contract strategy, but Vladdy's locked up with the Blue Jays now, so we don't have to worry about him being a New York Yankee at all anymore. But yeah, Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, and Dodgers, I think all historic greats. I think that the Giants have kind of lost that a little bit. With that move out there, but I mean, still another organization to be like, yeah, I was a San Francisco Giant, but what do you think of Scott Boras stating that most teams only spend up to 40% of their revenue? I don't know. I think this is Scott Boras just trying to call out owners to spend. I mean, there are some teams that don't spend up to 40%. There are teams that spend more than 40%. There's some teams that Cardinals is another great historic franchise. Yes, good job. I think this is Boris also having no touch with the market the last 2 years. He didn't have Otani, and he completely blew that offseason, mishandling Snell, mishandling Montgomery. I mean, they didn't sign till what, mid-April, the beginning of May or something. It was late. It might not have been that late, but it was late. I don't know. I think this is more of a negotiation tactic with Boris instead of like actually spitting truth. But who knows? I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, Vladdy was overpaid by Panic partially. Yeah, Blue Jays paid a big Toronto tax. That's coming from a massive Jays fan. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a panic. They can't afford to let Vladdy walk, because who becomes the face of that franchise if he goes? I don't know. Is Bo Bichette really the face of your franchise there? Does Santander become that? Alejandro Kirk? I mean, I don't really know. I don't know who becomes the face of your franchise if Vladdy went. Yeah. Yeah, if I was an MLB player rather than the Jays, obviously, I'd want to play for the Red Sox. Love Fenway Park. Yeah, Boston was my home park. Like I said, growing up in Maine, in New England, close to Canada there. Fenway Park was my home park. And there's no other feeling. There's no other ballpark I've been to than like the first time you walk up the ramp and see the Green Monster. It is absolutely incredible. It's so much history there. I mean, the concourse is a dump. The concourse looks like it was built in the 1800s, which, I mean, it was. But the field itself, absolutely immaculate. It is baseball mecca. It's absolutely incredible. If you haven't been there, you need to go there. If you go to Boston, don't drive in Boston. It's a nightmare. Take the T. But definitely get to a Sox game. Completely worth it. But yeah, don't care about the dollar value. Just glad you have a franchise player. Agree. Yeah, and agree, Captain. Boris has one goal. It's to get the most money that he can. And I completely get that. Just, it's tough. Bichette too busy hitting on tennis players. My God. Yeah, so Johnny, I've been to 13 ballparks, almost halfway through. Harrison and I are hopefully getting to St. Louis and Kansas City this summer. And then I'll be halfway done the ballpark tour. I'll have everything east of Cincinnati done except for Tampa, which I'm never going to get possibly, and Pittsburgh. Haven't been to there. My wife said I can go to every other baseball park without her except for Toronto and Detroit. So she wants to go to Toronto really, really bad. So hopefully next summer we can get up there. Got to get the passport, get up there to Toronto. But yeah, it's really, really cool. So I've been to almost half the ballparks. This is a fair question. Is Boston as racist as they say? No, it's not. I mean, it's kind of like the Jaron Duran situation in Cleveland. We have a couple people that ruin it for everybody and makes us all look bad, right? I mean, Guardians fans came out and were like, listen, we don't condone what that guy did. And we're the same way in Boston and New England. We don't condone anybody that talks like that or views like that at all. It's inexcusable. It's despicable. There's no need for it. And it's not. Yeah, Pittsburgh, they say, is the prettiest park out there. I can't wait to get there. I actually was like looking up flights to see if I can get there cheap because I'm in North Carolina right now. So the closest ballpark to me is 6 hours, which is ridiculous. But yeah. So John, the other trip I was planning this year was both Chicago's, Milwaukee, and Minnesota. I was trying to get it so I can just get those 4 in one swoop. There was a window in May. I think it might have been this week. It was this week or next week where I would have been able to hit the Cubs and White Sox at home, get Milwaukee, and then get Minnesota. But yeah, that would have been absolutely crazy to do. I've been outside of Wrigley Field, love it, and definitely need to get to Target Field, but I'll let you know for sure when we get up there. Yeah, Alomar was a piece of work for sure. We talked about him earlier in the show too. Yeah, Toronto's a nice place. As a ballpark, it's missing some of that Magic Classic baseball field. Very cool though. Yeah. Maybe get that hotel room out there in the outfield. I don't know if you have any insight in that, or how much those cost tonight. Those are probably a pretty penny, but yeah, Rogers Center seems pretty cool. I can't wait to get there, but never been to Toronto. Only been to Canada a handful of times. I had a family that lived in Prince Edward Island, so over by Maine more. So pretty cool, but can't wait to get to Toronto but oh sweet, you live in Saskatchewan. I'm getting all the Canadians tonight. Love it, man. That's cool. But all right, fellas. Went to Wrigley in 1990. Saw Cubs, Braves, Maddox, Glavine before they were good. Wow, that's cool. That's a pretty cool matchup to see. Smart. This is smart. My wife had a business trip to Chicago. I stayed home. Cubs were away that week. Yep, absolutely smart. But all right, fellas, I'm gonna call it. Yeah, for sure. That's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna call it a night, fellas. You guys were absolutely electric in the chat tonight. Thanks again. This is why we do it. We love talking baseball with everybody that comes on in the comments. We're here every Sunday night. We're here every Thursday night. So check back in. Like I said, we'll have Nostalgic Baseball Geezer on Sunday. He's going to give us his formula for the top 50 of how he figured out his top 50. We're going to have some debate around it, but it's going to be a great show. Love to get your 2 cents in on it. And yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Thanks to all the new people that came by, all the old people that came by. Not old, I mean regulars. I'll say regulars. We'll see you guys. Really appreciate the support and the love in the comments tonight. Love talking baseball with you. And we will see you on Sunday night. Oh, thanks, Captain. Really appreciate it. We'll see you on Sunday.